Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
Welcome back to another Vital MX MotoXpod show presented by RaceTech and Yamaha Motor USA. Round one of the 2024 Pro Motocross Championship is now behind us, and only 10 more to go. We'll talk a little bit about the race at Fox Raceway, lots of other stuff tonight in a bit. We have a couple fun guests on. We've got Star Racing Yamaha's Jordon Smith and Muck Off FXR ClubMX Yamaha's Jett Reynolds on. We're going to have them talk about their race and the outdoor nationals coming up and a little bit about their careers, etc. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm out here in SoCal today, so if you guys are on YouTube, you can see that we're in the Vital MX studios. And to my left, working the camera, one camera night, and YouTube chat, Michael Lindsay. What's up, ML?
I'll just stick with my typical hello.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's doing a show from California. It's a little more hectic getting everything together.
California. I've seen the excitement on your face today. You're just in love with this place.
It's just the fuel prices is really the only thing that I complain about.
You were telling me how miserable it was, and the only thing you could keep quoting was the fuel price.
Yeah, the fuel prices are insane. I left my house last week, and it was $2.95 or something like that. And then a little bit ago, I was filling up, and I look out, and it's like $70. I'm, oh, yeah, cool. It must be almost full. Nope, halfway. Freaking fantastic. But we're going to get into the RaceTech Open discussion in a minute. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple different topics. ML's working on a couple things. So we want to talk about the upcoming Canadian Triple Crown Nationals. I thought it was really interesting that Joey Savacci and Zach Osborne are talking. So we're going to get into a couple fun topics. Before we really get rolling with Nationals started, I want to remind you guys that VitalMX does have a fantasy game being played. All you got to do is go to vitalmx.com, sign up. It's free. You can join the MotoXpod Show League. Again, it's free. We've got some cool gifts. The winner from Paula was Jimmy Anders 10 at yahoo.com. So his Vital tag is Jimmy A410. So congratulations to Jimmy. Get some prizes out soon. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool concept. If you guys have been playing fantasy for years, it's a little different spin on it, and it's just different. It's a lot of fun. So please sign up for that. But yeah, ML we good?
I was trying the camera
adjusted.
Yeah, it was still in photo mode, so it wasn't focusing. And now that it focused, I still got to figure the difference out because it always looks kind of hazy when you do it at home. It is crispy right now, according to the preview.
I wonder what the difference is in that.
I got to figure out the settings difference.
Can we blame it on Scotty?
Sure.
Blame it on Scotty.
It's always easy to blame the person, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have anything to do with setting up the cameras. I do it, but we'll still blame him. But yeah, I want to...
Crispy.
What would you like to start with first? I mean, you talked about Canadian Nationals, so I know you and Lewis already have talked about the races on the review show.
I could still rant. I'm still pissed about a couple things.
Well, we can get into that, but let's start with the Canadian Triple Crown.
Canadian starts this weekend. I think it's the Ride TV app. I'm actually going to buy it because I'm dead curious. The 450 class, no offense, not as much. I mean, it will most likely be a Dylan Wright runaway. I am really curious to see how Preston Kilroy does up there for the MX 101 guys. You still have Pettis in the 450 class. PRMX, I think Mitchell Harrison's in the 450 class. Notsky's in the 450 class for KTM. Ozaya. I feel like I'm missing somebody on PRMX.
Drew Adams?
No, we're talking 450s.
Oh, you're on 450s only.
But that's the thing. So 450 still has some interesting.
Okay.
Probably going to be Dylan Wright's title as usual. 250 class is where it gets really interesting. You have the old man in the class, T-Dax, who's definitely the favorite. But then you also have, I should actually say he isn't the favorite. Benoit would be at Red Bull KTM. But then we have two Americans. An American and a... is Tiger Wood Kiwi or Aussie?
That's a good question.
I think he's
Aussie.
Aussie.
The same thing.
I think he's Aussie. Oh, don't.
It's a joke, people. It's a joke.
Careful.
Yeah,
I believe Aussie. Sorry, Tiger Wood, but he's been staying here. He's riding for the GDR Honda team for his kind of pro debut. Drew Adams is going up at least doing the first three. Kind of depends how he does. Old Dan Truman's set up, both those deals is always making things happen. So either one of them, both of them have a lot of question marks to me. So I think they're actually going to be really. Typically, Canadian Nationals are good racing to watch, but I think they're going to be really good this weekend. Worth watching. Hang down that. We're doing Loretta's regional this weekend. There's plenty of good racing.
It'll be
maybe not good racing in our races. I scratch that. There's 2 really good races to watch. Please don't anybody look for us at the Loretta Lynn's regional.
Ooh. Yeah, somebody asked me if I was racing that at Glen Helen today. I was like, well, I'll be riding in it. I don't know. We'll get into some Loretta's talk in a minute because I have some thoughts on that too. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Do you know the reason that Drew went up there and didn't decide to just make his debut out here?
Well, he's not racing professionally yet, like in terms of U.S.
I guess
I think for somebody Loretta's, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him do another year's of futures. Like Drew's doing good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's ready yet.
Right.
I think it's great. I've told multiple people, I've been multiple amateurs, guy like Dads I Know and stuff that have asked about Vice, and I've been a strong proponent of racing Canadian Nationals. I think it's a great start because we continue to complain about it. We don't have an EMX series here in the U.S. or something like that, something that makes you race week in, week out, race for a championship. We have these one-off big races where it's do or die for 5 laps, but you aren't doing long motos. You're not managing a championship. You're not learning how to come back off bad weekends and reset and things of that nature.
Learning racecraft.
Yeah. So I think it's really good for that A-class-ish kid that isn't quite ready to go pro here, that's basically knows, not you're ever, like, you're still going to get beat down here, but is really going to get teeth kicked in versus could learn something there, learn how to be a top 3, top 5 guy, race with guys, have that expectation. I think the big thing going there is getting confidence to know every weekend when you're on the gate, having confidence to know I can start top 5 and run there, where I feel a lot of kids definitely struggle with that when they go pro here. Because, you line up and you see 20 factory 250s on the road with you. You're just like, God, I hope I get a top 15 start.
Yeah.
Like you just, and to be, there's just not, it's hard to get the confidence.
Yeah, and the kids that come out here and just do a couple of the amateur nationals and dominate, it doesn't really help them when they go pro in the U.S. So to get a bunch of gate drops in Canada seems like a really positive.
I hope if it goes like good for Drew, I hope more people maybe take a liking to it, because I would think if you're an amateur going into your A year, if you have the right support, I know not everybody can afford to do this, but if you're a kid that's in a good position and has good support, I would go do futures. Still do your Loretta Lynn's area and regional. It is tough to fit around the schedule, but do your futures, do your supercross prep during the off season, learn that, put in time on it. Go do your Loretta's area and regional. I would skip most U.S. amateur nationals to do full season at Canadian Nationals and then Loretta's, because Loretta's fits in that schedule, I believe.
Absolutely. I like the idea. I'm excited to watch it. As I said, this is the RaceTech Open Discussion. And RaceTech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company. They have over 35 years of experience providing factory-level suspension to the everyday rider. RaceTech Gold Valves provide a plush feel and drastically improved bottoming resistance and increased traction. All RaceTech products are 100% guaranteed and made in the USA. So I implore you to go to racetech.com. You can find your local service center. They can help you get your, change your fluids, get your suspension worked on, get it serviced. And they also do engine work.
I was getting very concerned you started to pause. I didn't know if you knew what happened at a suspension company.
No, not really.
Didn't we send you there?
Do they get suspended? Like that you can't use it for a while? You're in trouble? Is that suspension? Like you were suspended? You're suspended from the race?
I think you're suspended from this show.
All right, I'm out. I'm hitting in and out. Racetech.com. Again, find your local service center. Your local tech is probably at your local track riding anyway. Get to know them. Those guys do great work. Checkers and the boys taking care of us here at Vital MX and the MotoXpod show. All right, so you said you had a bunch of rants or a bunch of things that you're still fired up over from the weekend. Is it specifically the Deegan Vial?
Yes, 100%. Okay. Two things. Start it. Like I keep complaining about the first turn at Fox over and over, and I will complain until they ever change it because it's the worst thing ever.
Okay,
but that's obvious when 10 people or more down every time in the first corner there. But no, the officiating this week in the AMA side of things, like, look, I still think the Tom decision was a little bit behind, like they didn't make it till after the moto, but okay, we made a decision, we have a rule, we're sticking with things, we handed out a quick penalty that's, not egregious, but as a reminder to behave. Cool. I complain all the time. I compare us to MotoGP and F1 where they regularly hand out small penalties to kind of keep the guys in line. So I'm like, cool, we're doing something about it. Then Moto 2 happens, and we have Hayden's 2 off-track moments, and we're sitting around the press tent for 2 hours, and I finally gave up and went home because we didn't know who had won. Yeah. And this has nothing to do with me thinking Hayden needed to be Doc or Tom Dearden. I'm just begging for some damn consistency.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's the key.
You set a precedence, and you just turn around and wiped it out. And, like, I could see, so, I mean, to me, Tom's is pretty black and white. Off track, you can see his throttle position by his wrist is pretty heavy. Yeah, I agree with that one. Hayden went off twice. First time, definitely lost some time. The second one is kind of like, I look as you go off track, like, tracks have limits. If you go off, even I've heard riders go, well, I didn't gain time. I'm like, hey, you went off track. I don't remember ever getting off track and thinking I deserve to even keep the gap. Like, you've made a mistake.
Yep.
So where he was able to rejoin, he had rejoined right before that jump. I don't know if this is what Star countered with. I had heard that maybe they had counter-argued, like, hey, the jump's right where he got back on. There's guys coming, like, it's dangerous to roll, which in their defense is correct. Because the way the track was set up, you couldn't even go around that jump. There was spectator tunnels and fences he would have ran into head first.
Right.
Where I'm at with it is just consistency. I don't care who the rider is. I don't care the egregiousness of it or not. Like, just be consistent. We just let these. It's just, it's never the same twice.
That's the biggest thing. Is it's not black and white, and then you have the keyboard where it's like, well, it's Hayden Deegan, so of course they're not going to penalize him, and it does kind of look bad when they don't. The 2 incidences, or the 4 incidences total, I guess, if you count how many times Hayden went off the track, they look very similar. I guess they said that Hayden lost some time and Vial gained some time. It had to be so minimal. I don't even know how you use that as part of the argument. Like, there has to be something where, like, you have to let off the gas and maybe take a moment to look both ways. Make it very obvious.
The ones I stand at is unless you egregiously, like, even if in Hayden's case, and this is partially on track, you should be able to go around jumps. Like, I get it, there's going to be spectator tunnels, but a lot of them that do have an up ramp on each side, that's on track safety. That should not be allowed. They should be able to go around the jump if needed, because to put a rider in a position where they have to get back on the track right before a jump face, that's a bad idea. So the track needs to be capable of pretty much going around something in almost any given section if possible. I just saw this thing shoot
I saw
fireworks.
that too. I think that's like the FaceTime thing where people can. Yeah, see, I usually don't get to see the YouTube videos, so see, there's a reason they don't let me see it.
I'm so ADHD that completely distracted me. We're still having
There's a reason Scotty doesn't let me watch.
There's a good reason.
Do it again, guys. I want to see the fireworks. If you're not watching us live on YouTube, you're missing out. There was fireworks a minute ago.
But no, it's the same. They should be able to go around. If somebody rejoins, like I said, if they even keep their gap the same, like, that's okay. Then why have any sort of track limits? And that's a huge this is a huge talking point again in F1 and MotoGP all the time. More F1 is they've built all these tracks that don't have gravel runoff areas. They have actual paved or concrete. So the cars can go over the line on corner exit, and the counter argument all the time is, why do we have track limits if you guys can't stand? Like, we're basically the is like, we've tried to give you guys space by not creating gravel traps that just sink your cars all the time, so you're not totally effed. But it doesn't mean you should just take advantage and go off track because if you push too hard, you went off the track.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should suffer a little bit for that.
Yes. You should, like, just because I've heard riders say, well, I didn't gain advantage. I don't care. Like, I just kind of stayed the same. No, you went off track.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like Vince Freeze at World last year, right? When he just cut the S corner, just take a straight line.
Yeah. No, so it's down to consistency. We don't have any of it. The sport, every time I think we're close to it. And I get there's only so much we can say and do, but at the same time, I like listening to the riders and even in the press conference, you can tell they all don't really know what's good or not. Like, Tom tried to argue he thought what he did was okay versus not. All the riders are kind of like, gray area. I don't know, man. Which proves to me the point. Like, if none of the riders can answer what they're supposed to do or not do in a situation, we haven't been very clear with what we're trying to accomplish here.
I agree. And then also the other issue you mentioned, like waiting 2 hours, and it was really more than that because you had the whole 450 moto. Yep. So it's 2.5 hours, and they still didn't really have a decision. And I know when they signed off the air from the live broadcast, like, they didn't know. They didn't even know there was an issue. They announced the winners. it's kind of janky. Like you need to be able to announce that before they go off air, or at least tell them, hey, this is under review. This could change.
Or the other one is, again, I'm comparing. Well, actually, Lewis brought this up, and it sucks because in Moto, it doesn't make sense. MotoGP F1, if they have to do something that's a little bit more after the race, and they kind of are aware, like, hey, the decision of the penalty we're making here isn't because it really affected the race outcome, but the PERT driver still did something wrong. They'll hand out a penalty that affects the next race, which is typically grid position. Like, okay, you're going to lose. No matter what you qualify, you get a 5-place grid penalty next weekend.
Okay.
Lewis brought that up. The second part with Moto is if a guy qualifies number 2 and you tell him he gets 7th gate choice, it's kind of it's not that bad.
Not that different.
It's like they might already get, like, it's because the gate on Moto doesn't matter the same. Right. So I don't know what the penalty would be, but something that could be a post, some sort of penalty the next week and maybe automatic deletion your fastest lap. Good luck. You have to put down 2 years. I don't know. Okay. Something that kind of, I get not wanting to affect the overall result for something that may have not affected the race. Because even Levi said it. He's like, I don't think I was going to pass him.
Right. Yeah. So he shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
That wasn't very smart. Come on, Levi.
But what I'm saying is, like,
but they were hungry.
I get the AMA's point of, like, if they're trying to stay away from just needlessly affecting an end result, then penalties need to be re-reviewed, need to be more. I think the biggest thing is black and white. It seems like nobody knows what they're actually going to get for a penalty when they do something.
Sure, it could be positions, it could be money, it could be points. We don't know.
Yeah,
and the riders, you kind of talked about Levi, and I said he shouldn't have said that. But like those guys sat around for 2 hours also, and they were all like Hayden was, I want to go to In and Out, and Levi was, I'm hungry. I don't care. Let's just go. Like they were just fed up at that point. So yeah, they were saying whatever they could just to get out of there. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm sure it won't be the last time. Let's jump into the Yamaha Motor USA highs and lows. And Yamaha has a reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades. The YZ story is 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha's new 50th anniversary edition YZs pay tribute to a half-century of championship-winning performance, wrapped in stunning retro style. Check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com. Yeah, I had my retro-looking Yamaha with the new purple wheels out at Glen Helen today. Just absolutely shredding.
Shredding off the side of the track?
I did do that a couple times, actually, yes. Yes.
Did you stay on the gas when you were off the side of the track?
Yes, because I was afraid I cut somebody off. So after the finish, and where it makes the 180, and then it makes another 180 to the left, that jump kind of drifts to the right, and I sort of where you can kind of run off the track. And I jumped it one time and like landed off the track. Yeah. And I just stayed on the gas because I was like, shit, I hope nobody saw that. I hope I didn't cut anybody off because there were some fast dudes out there. That might be part of my highs and lows right now. You want to go first? You want to do your highs and lows? Or you want me to do it?
My low is Jeff Walker was supposed to be our co-host tonight, and he decided to drive up to Hangtown even though he has all day tomorrow. And he didn't respond to my text when I told him I was bummed out at him. So
yeah, he was supposed to be in studio with us right now. And
Jeff, if you bailed on this and you don't even make the top 40 at Hangtown, I'm never fucking talking to you again.
Yeah, he apologized to me in a text, and then he blew.
At least you got an apology.
That was this morning, and then he's like, "Well," and he blew by me going up Mount St. Helens, and just kind of gave me a burp, burp when he went by, and it's like, "Yeah, that doesn't make up for it, Jeff. Doesn't make up for it."
Nope.
Okay, so that's your low. Is that your only low?
My low is the officiating of the AMA. My high is I didn't get that sunburnt in compared to Lewis and Sean this weekend.
Oh, did they get crisp?
Did you not see Sean afterwards? He looked
that's
like
right.
a boiled
Yes.
lobster. I haven't seen a human being be shiny pink in a while.
Yes, him and his girlfriend Bridget were bright red. You were correct.
I was somehow Sean has not started peeling yet. We'll see. So yeah, the Brits in their fair skin. That was not good. It wasn't even that hot, but like everybody forgets when it's overcast and there's moisture in there, it kind of is like a magnifying glass. The UV ray actually makes you burn worse.
Absolutely.
Oh, my other high. I'm actually excited for the 250 champion. I shouldn't say I'm not excited for the 450s. It's just a little more black and white. The 250s are a little bit more interesting than.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my list too. Yeah. All right.
Well, low is my other complaint. Fox Raceway's first turn is still the worst on the circuit. Sucks.
Well, I mean, if you have four.
Every single moto, there's pileups anywhere ranging from 5 to 12 dudes. Yeah. And you go back at past years when they run that start, it's the same way.
Might be a problem.
Yeah, I want to redo the start.
I'll be having to think about that come this weekend when you and I are lined up out there.
Oh, bright size. It's a California region. Only be like 10 of us on the gate.
God, I hope there's only 4.
Automatically qualified.
I mean, honestly, I hope there's only 3 because it's possible I might not make it. So, all right. So my highs were the temps at Paula were pretty nice. It felt good outside for the most part. Wasn't just a scorcher. Phil going 9.9 for 10th. He rode really well, so that's a high.
He's
but
ever
also,
rode at Paula.
Yes.
Last time I saw him at Paula, I mean, he still wasn't happy. Which
is he ever?
Yeah, but especially Paula. I think the last time I watched him ride, I think he looked like he was going to die running around like 19th place like 3 years ago. So
yeah,
big improvement for Phil. Congrats,
absolutely.
Phil.
Yeah.
You got out of SoCal without.
But it's also just funny that he went 9.9 for 10th. That on top of how well he rode was pretty great. The 250s were one of my highs, and then us racing this weekend at Paula. I'm excited to do it. I don't really have very high expectations, but I think it's going to be a blast. We're going to just get to hang out and see how it goes.
Are you going to hit the really big step up they were throwing whips off of?
It depends on how that face is shaped. If it looks like it did last weekend, probably not. I mean, I'll jump to the top.
Okay.
But I'm not jumping all the way over. I'm not jumping all the way. I say I'll jump to the top until the ruts get in the face, and then we'll just have to see. We'll revisit this next Tuesday night.
I watched a 65 kid on amateur day almost jump it all the way.
That always
jumped,
pisses me off, man. Because
top.
When a kid on 65 can do something that I won't do, it's kind of bullshit.
Also watched Jason Anderson land all the way into the bottom into the corner.
Dude, Moto 1?
In Moto 1.
Yeah, I saw that too. Me and Michael Morgan were standing there. I was like, holy shit, he's up in the air a long way. Yeah.
So that jump already kind of tosses people. So when you look up and they're noticeably higher, bad.
Yeah, that soaked it up though. It didn't seem to affect him any. He just got right back on the gas. Okay, my lows were RJ and Marchbanks getting hurt. That really blew. The Deegan VL penalties, which we've already talked about. The cost of Loretta's, like what I'm hearing, this even just the regional is going to cost between practice and all the fees.
Oh yeah, my area qualifier cost me. I drove up. I took my girlfriend and my friend came with because he shot photos for me. So I paid for all their entries, paid for all of our food, drove up. I think the area qualifier cost me $400.
Oh, geez, I didn't spend that much, but I didn't have that many people with me. But yeah, it's a little.
It was
it's a little bummer.
$60 or $80 just to get three of us through the gate for the day.
And then I have a new low
no.
for the week out at GH today, which GH is not any fun in my opinion. But I'm going up Mount St. Helens, and Derek Kelly, AEO's Derek Kelly, goes blown by me. He literally going up the hill, takes his right hand off the throttle and yelling, "Throttle, dude, throttle!" Like, show me where the throttle is. Like, yeah, no, dude, I know where it is, Derek. I know. I just can't twist it quite as far as you. It was really.
Did you try the old David Bailey regrip? Get over the front. So
I was like, yeah, dude, the cable's totally stretched. That's all it's got. But yeah, that was.
Check your throttle position. It's 40%.
So between him and Talon Hawkins 40%. Trying to run me off the track because he thought it was funny. I
have really quick. I have a great story. The late Jeff Alessi.
Okay.
So I'm at Glen Helen one day. I had to borrow I'll leave that part for later on. So I'm just sitting on the back tailgate, my little S10. And I was good friends with Jeff when I was in my teenage years. He rolls up to me and is just laughing at me. He goes, "How was that?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Still don't know what the hell you're talking about, man." And he's just staring at me. And he looks over at my bike on the stand and he spots a Honda with a number 512 on it. The problem was I rode Cowies. I'd borrowed my dad's 450. I had numbers on because I'd race every once in a while. A couple of your old Honda 450 anytime my Cowies would be down for service. And he looks at me, he looks at the bike, and he goes, "Oh, shit, I have to go find somebody." He saw a dude on track, 512 on a Cowie, Thor gear just like me, and clocked the dude at the top Mount Sound, thought it was funny, just completely took the guy's front tire out and thought it was me, and roosted the shit out of him. Yeah, it wasn't me.
That's great. That is so good. Yeah.
Just the look on his face when he finally noticed the bike sitting there. It was like, looks at me, looks at the bike like 3 times, and he just starts the bike and goes, "I got to go."
That's awesome, dude. That's a great story. It's nerve-wracking out there, man. There were so many people there this week anyway. More like, I don't go there very often, and you don't like to go there but you rode there a lot. But like Kiefer was saying, like, this is way more people than normal. Yeah. And it was just like I, at my level, cannot just go out and put in motos comfortably because I'm terrified that I'm going to be in somebody's way. And everyone's like, "Well, just hold your line. Don't worry about it." But it's so nerve-wracking when these guys they don't give you much room when they go by you. And if you have a bit of a lack of ability and they give you 6 inches when they're passing you and you make the slightest mistake, you could clean out one of these guys. And I guess that's on them, but it's nerve-wracking. Yeah. I don't enjoy it. All right, we got about 5 minutes before we get Jordon on. how's your Loretta's prep been going? We're both racing the regional at Paula, along with Chris Kiefer and some of Kiefer's buddies. But have you been riding much? Have you been doing any training?
Okay. I've been riding. Training went out the window. Work.
Yeah.
Girlfriend got hers, taking care of her.
Oh, yeah,
riding
yeah.
as often. Went from riding 2-3 days a week down to my once on the weekend, a little bit here and there. I definitely feel better than I did at the regional. The area qualifier. Not by a lot. The credit part is my sprint speed is definitely getting back to like what it was when I was like late teens or 20s. I'm stoked on when I send it. Problem is sending it still only lasts about 2 laps. So goal for the regional, go for the best start, sprint like as hard as I can for a lap and a half, and pray that I can even ride around for 7-8 more laps.
Yeah, I actually found out this week. I, for some reason, thought the regional was actually a timed one, like 15 minutes. No. So it's not. That's great.
It's still like 4 or 5. It's still like 5 or 6 laps.
Okay, that's good. So, like, in theory, I could get a decent start and maybe do okay. But, I feel good. I've been riding a lot at home. I'm not really getting tired when I'm riding. But as soon as I get out here, like today, it's just tiptoeing. Every time I come out here to ride, it makes me wonder why the hell I ride dirt bikes.
That's what happens every time I go to Glen Helen in general.
Yeah, maybe it'd be better at Paula. The dirt looks so good Saturday morning at the National at Paula, which kind of had me hyped, but then it just turned into typical California
but the bright
track.
side, like for the region, like it's, I don't know, different than what am I trying to say? In the National, they aren't really allowed to water during the motos. Our race, they'll probably water, like if we're not coming around, they'll water corners.
Okay.
National, they're kind of not allowed to do that.
So do you think you'll be able to qualify straight out?
30, yeah. 25, yeah. I'm probably hosed because Trevor Stewart's doing it here. Kiefer, Cole Martinez. I mean, two of those guys I said Cole's won it. Cole's outright won 450 Pro, was it 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. Stapleton, who's always a top 10 guy, is doing it like, even though Cali doesn't have a lot of guys that do 30 and 25, like 25, it's the 4 dudes that are going to go are all going to be top 10. So I'm probably hosed. My only saving grace is I had decent starts at the area qualifier if I can pull a start and sprint. I mean, Trevor and Cole are going to be gone. Chris will kick my ass. I got to be Dennis and probably 1 or 2 other fast guys, and that's all start dependent. If I get a bad start, I'm hosed. So 30 plus. If I don't make it in 30 plus, I'm just going to ignore that I ever said I was going to do this. I'm going to hide in a hole and never race again in my life. Because if I can't qualify for 30 plus right now, I should just off myself.
Yeah, you looked really good at the area, so I think you'll be okay.
The area, I was down half a lap by the end of the area qualifier to Trevor in 25 plus, but I won 30 plus.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that you like in the 30 plus, you look good. Yeah. So
I didn't feel any better.
Yeah, that's sad, right? I have very just level expectations. Like I'm going to go do the best I can. I'm not going to be like brokenhearted if I don't qualify.
If you don't qualify, are you going to go to the Thunder Valley Regional or no?
So Kiefer actually asked me that. We did a Loretta's prep pod yesterday with him, and he asked me that. And I plan on going because my buddy Michael Gage is going, so I can just roll up with him. So I do plan on going.
It's not like a huge haul. It's not you trucking up there by yourself.
Right. So, yeah, I think I'll go. Obviously, I'd rather just make it out of here and be done.
Yeah. I get to drive to Thunder Valley. Not for the regional. For the race, I'm going to drive this year because I have a buddy that really wants to go with me. Yeah. And I can't. Like he can't afford to fly if I'm going to fly for work, so me and him are just getting a little rental car and drive up and back. So
that's round 3, right?
Yep. So this weekend we have the regional, and then I'm going to drive to Thunder Valley the following weekend.
I'll still be here in California, but apparently I'm dog sitting.
Oh, okay.
Yep, because the Kiefers they plan on going to Hangtown. Most people know now that Aiden broke his collarbone. So he will not be racing this weekend, but if he's feeling okay, they will race Hangtown, so they're going to be out of town, so I'm going to dog sit.
I think.
And anybody that knows me, that's a very odd thing to say.
Oh, yeah, Hangtown is a Sorry, Washougal was this last one. I knew a lot of guys that went and did the Washougal regional.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're about to get Jordon Smith on the phone, so, Loretta's.
Your friend TJ says Jamie is already quitting. What a friend.
I mean, he didn't even attempt, so I don't know what to tell him.
What a friend. Yeah, I could have attempted on his electric bike. Don't they allow those
his
now?
Homemade electric bike? That would be awesome. Yeah. TJ, suck it, TJ. All right, first guest of the night is on the line. He's going to be brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight seat foam. Don't forget they have complete seats for the Tulare and Super 73 and covers for the Sur-Ron and Segway. They strive to ship orders out within 36 hours, so visit gutsracing.com today. Let them know the MotoXpod show sent you. Tonight, Guts Racing brings star Yamaha Racing's Jordon Smith. What's up, Jordan?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Not much, man. We're just hanging out here. I'm still out in California, and we're just discussing this the round one at Fox Raceway. And dude, I told you post-race, I didn't really do an interview with you, but I was just visiting with you, and I said, I thought you rode really, really well for what your results ended up being. You were a little frustrated. You hit the deck a few times, but like, do you feel like you rode well as a whole or not so much?
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like that was honestly like the most comfortable throughout a day that I've ever felt in an outdoor. And for me to say that leaving Paula is a good thing, I think. So not normally one of my strong tracks, and never really felt super comfortable. So yeah, just all day, I actually guarantee you that was the first time I haven't made a clicker change at an outdoor national all day long. So yeah, it was good. Bike felt good. I felt good. And yeah, I'm excited about how I felt, even though the results don't necessarily show.
Yeah, I guess I want to jump right. I had another question, but not doing any clicker changes with the way that track developed surprises me. And I know Michael Lindsay's sitting here next to me, and he's a big settings guy and setup guy. So does that surprise you, ML?
I mean, yeah, I guess for the opening round, yes. I don't get surprised mid-season when somebody says that, but when you're at the opening round, Fox is a little different. It's not like those guys test there, so if you're that comfortable, that's good. Actually, on the note of that one, I noticed, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, so you guys all in Supercross run Air Fork PSF1. And outdoors, other than Romano, it looked like you guys were on spring, which I believe you and Hayden went to spring during outdoors last year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I did. Yeah, Hayden did. I didn't though.
Okay.
I think I was going to, but then I ended up getting hurt and not racing the rest of the outdoors. So yeah, we had tested some spring and air and Supercross, and the air is so kind of tried and true for the team, and we felt like it was better. And then Hayden had kind of done some stuff on the spring last year outdoors, so we had some settings with that, and yeah, I've been on that. Like kind of getting ready for outdoors. I started outdoors on air, and then got to the spring, and been on it ever since. So yeah, it feels good. It's really not a huge field difference for me, just a little bit. But overall, it like I can make either of them work. But yeah, I felt pretty good with the spring, and felt good for round one. So I don't know. That could be a good or bad thing, I guess. Some people. Sometimes your bike doesn't work good at Paula, but it works good other places. But no, actually, I get practice. We try to ride different tracks other than just the farm, and it's pretty good. Like we have a couple sand tracks we go to, and the farm is a little bit more hard packed. So my bike's been handling good at all of them. So that's a big benefit.
I have some more setup questions for you in a second, but getting back to the race. Moto 1, I believe you were running fourth when you washed the front end. It looked like going up that hill.
Yep.
And it felt like, just watching you ride those first 3 laps, that there was a good chance you could track those guys down and maybe get a podium on top 3. Did you feel, I know it's very early when you washed the front, but did you feel strong enough and the bike was handling well enough that you think you could have made a charge to the front?
Yeah, for sure. I felt like, I came out third, and Hayden got me on outside line around the hill on the first lap. And then we kind of had settled in there, and we were just I was just kind of trying to match the pace of the guys in front of me, and not really trying to push it. I felt like I really wasn't riding too hard yet. I've been really, really strong at the end of the motos in practice and stuff. My fitness has felt better than it ever has. So, the late race fitness isn't really an issue. I feel like that's more of a strength for me. So was, just trying to kind of see what they were going to do and follow them around, but obviously just lost the front there. And yeah, it was a bummer. But yeah, I do think that I could have kind of held it in there with those guys, and would have liked to see where I would have been at the end of the moto there if I wouldn't have fell. But looking at lap times and stuff, watching the races back, like I was actually kind of catching a lot of the guys in front of me other than Levi and Hayden at the last few laps. So yeah, I think I could have been up there and possibly ended up on the podium. So we'll try again this weekend.
Yeah, definitely some things to take away to build off of. And like, it's been, I think 2018 might've been the last time you did a full season. You did a few nationals last year and a few in 19, but yeah, your history with the nationals it's been a little slim lately. So do you have like the goal of just, I need to get through them all? Also, is that the primary goal, or is it, let's go for it all in?
Yeah, I mean, I try to not think about like, getting hurt or anything. So, yeah, I definitely want to make all the outdoor rounds, get as many points as I can for the SMX. I think it's just good too, like, at one point Bobby was trying to talk me into just doing Supercross only, and I think it's really good to be on motocross and just riding the rutted tracks. It just really helps your fitness, like for the next year, like even in Supercross. So yeah, I think that my goal, I set it on the kind of the pre-race thing, but I have never been on the overall podium in an outdoor. I've had like 5 or 6 moto podiums, but never an overall. So that's goal number 1 for me to check off. And I think that, this weekend was the best overall day that I've I'm not going to say overall day, because
we lost you, Jordan.
On the bike was probably the best, like the most confident I felt throughout the day. I qualified 5th and 6th in both practices. Yeah, it just really felt good. So a lot of positives, and we're trying to check off the podium goal here sooner than later, hopefully.
I like it.
I was curious. I mean, you've been around long enough. I don't know about how injuries affect this, but you've been around long enough to pretty much race every time we've been to Paula for national. Layout, prep this year, where does it rank in there? I know it's not a lot of people. It's not super high on a lot of people's national list. I mean, it's my backyard track, but even I'm like, when I go to it, I'll be honest. But in terms of prior one, this one, is it getting better? About the same?
So I've only done it. That was my 3rd time doing it. The first time was in 2019, and I didn't even finish like the second moto. That was the year I had like the wrist injury. I barely even remember racing outdoors that year. There was just so much pain in my wrist. So, but this year compared to last year was ripped. Like it was way deeper last year in like first practice and stuff. And I think it was a little bit better last year. Just the way that it kind of shaped up. It was a little bit one line this year. It was like you're either way inside, like the furthest inside route you can get to, or you're trying to rail the dozer berms on the outside. So it made it a little bit one lined if one of those got blown out. I was kind of really, really surprised at how dry it already was, like in practice 1. Like the top was wet, but like underneath was already dry and somewhat of a hard base. So it never really got like any deep ruts or anything. They had to put a lot of water on it throughout the day. So I was just glad that there wasn't as many rocks in it on race day as there was on press day, because that was pretty ridiculous. It was pretty crazy how many, like not even rocks, just like boulders were out there.
Yeah, I heard that same thing. You mentioned them watering the track all day. They got it. It looked pretty excessively wet before your second moto. Was that a little? Was it? I guess you guys got a little sight lap, but was it surprising how much water they threw down?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of knew that was what they were going to do, just based off of how hard packed it was, and the last thing they want is it throwing up a bunch of dust and being a dust bowl. So I get it, but yeah, it was really wet. They watered the crap out of the first turn, like it was so wet and like slimy, and you see us. We had a huge first turn pile up there, like that was, because that was an area that was like tilled up. So I think they could have got away with a little less water in that area. But, yeah, I mean, it was super wet, but for whatever reason, that dirt, it takes the water pretty well. Like it doesn't get or it didn't this weekend, like get too slick. Like it actually absorbed it, maybe because it was ripped decently, but, yeah, it absorbed it decent. So it wasn't too bad.
If you had the choice, if they came to you and said, would you rather you race Fox Raceway or Glen Helen in the future for the first national or just the California National in general, which one would you rather have of the two?
I'm going Fox. I despised Glen Helen whenever I raced it. I love riding there. I love practicing. I love watching racing there. But racing Glen Helen, I hated it.
I hate that place too. I just left there a couple hours ago, and it's terrorizing. It's just terror. It's the worst feeling I've ever had on a motorcycle, I think.
Well, I've always told people from riding it, I just think there's a point you have to accept. There is no such thing as feeling like super comfortable there and going fast. I'm pretty sure it literally is the term you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because you have your good and your bad days ever. I've rode there my whole life, and I can't say there's a single day where I've ever actually felt comfortable. There's just days where I've accepted it more than others.
Yep.
That's hard to do.
For sure. And like the 1 year, I don't know. Sorry.
You're good.
Boy, it's getting crazy. The 1 year, I can't remember if it was 2015 or 2016, but they had like those two really steep hills in it. Mm-hmm. And like Tomac was like jumping to the top and like hip jumping it and making it look super easy. Oh, but I was like literally scared to go up those hills and practice. Like,
and he's using the raw cliff to do almost a 180 at the top.
Yeah, that was insane. I was watching that and I'm just like, yeah, that's a different level that I don't have. yeah,
that's how I feel every day. Like, you know, some of the privateers were out there today, and I just don't understand. Like, I'm literally in terror coming down the hill with the kickers and stuff, and these guys are just flying by at Mach.
The most I've been in terror there. I'm trying to think, Jordan, did you ever do any of the USGPs there between your TLDs there?
I didn't. No.
Did you? I'm trying to think because. Did you ever? I mean, that track. I think back. I guess it would have been pre-TLD. If you're thinking like Nelson McElrath there, the rhythm section they built in the front
when they did like the Supercrossy thing.
Yes, I watched the replay. Like Nelson had a GoPro while he was leading, and it's still usually GoPros make things look mellow. Even on the GoPro is scary. KTM thought it'd be a great idea for media to try out the brand new 250 two-stroke and 125 two-stroke there the day after the USGP. I rode around. I'm like, dude, on a 250F, if this was perfectly groomed at my skill level, I'm like, I would barely feel comfortable trying most of this.
Yeah.
On a 250 two-stroke, I tried like the entry part to it and almost looped out. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm just gonna ride around it all day.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the jump that the guy over jumped and blew out his front wheel on? Dude, that was in like practice, I think, before. I was so scared going to the track. I'm like, I got to hit that jump, and I don't know how fast to hit it, and I don't want to do what that guy did.
Was that you're talking about the step up in the back, the big one?
Yeah, it was like where like that Talladega turn was back there, or like not the first turn, but the other
second one. Yeah, but I know. Yeah,
but we went
too.
Like past that. Yeah, that was horrible.
You went like,
God, I watched that, and I'm just like, wow.
Well, that wasn't where we practiced. So the problem they had is on press day, you had to hit it wide open. And that's like perfect.
Yeah.
They either put more lip bar or they pushed it up like 15 feet so you actually had to time it, which is not a good idea because you actually couldn't hit it wide open anymore.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea on a jump that big.
I remember I was when I was what was I, probably 12 at the time or something? The first year they built that triple step up for the national when you had Villo, the only guy in the 250 class doing it, and Alessi was trying to stretch 450s. There was maybe 8 or 10 guys doing it. 250s every lap. Villo's coming down that PC bike just all the way off the rear fender, barely making it. He's all like full stretched out doing it. Alessi every lap would clip it till he finally quit doing it. I remember people would just sit there every lap and like in awe of that thing. The first year they built it, it was. I always laugh for Glen Helen. It's a natural track. It's a man's track. Where did all these 180-foot triples come from and 140 jump foot this way and giant?
I know, that's what I never understood. Even the 1 year they had like in the kind of infield area there, they had a gnarly rhythm section built in there. And actually Craig landed on me. Like I didn't hit one. Like it was so hard to do. I can't remember it exactly, but Craig landed on me and broke his leg at that race. And it's just like, you have this like sick, like track with just natural hills and all this. Like, why do we need this Supercross rhythm section in it? You know, like just leave it natural, like build a set of rollers or something, you know? Yeah. But, I mean, I get it. They're trying to they try to make, something harder for us, and they did.
Exciting for the viewers is a big part of it, I think.
Exactly.
Jordan Smith tonight.
You're going to die in Ragdoll. That's all plays in my head.
Jordan Smith tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. I want to ask you, when it does come to some of these bigger jumps, like even at Fox on press day, they had the big triple step up, step down thing that they mellowed out a little bit. But when they build something like that, it's awesome for the viewers. But do you go out there and go, come on, man, like I'm getting a little older. I got kids. This is ridiculous.
Sometimes, for sure. I haven't had any jumps recently like that. I'm going to knock on wood, or else I'm going to show up to some huge double at Hangtown this weekend.
Wait till Hangtown.
I actually heard from somebody they are putting, I don't know if it's the fly jump, but supposedly somebody on the forum mentioned, I went and checked out Hangtown Day, and they put back in this big triple step up or something.
Sick.
So sorry.
But most of them like don't bother me too bad. Like the ones this weekend weren't bad. They do, like what gets me is like that like whip jump that they're almost throwing whips on, not me, but other guys. They like that one, you're just wide open coming around that like sweeper before it with bumps, and then you hit the face, and their face was like rutted out. They did a good job of grooming it quite a bit, luckily, but like, dude, you're literally fourth gear wide open off the face of this massive jump, and there's like bumps and ruts going out the face. You're just like waiting for the bike to step out or something, But it's I mean, most of the time it's not too bad, but there's a couple jumps here and there that get you.
Questionable.
You hear that, Jamie? Because me and him are racing the regional there this weekend. Fourth gear wide open. You can hit it.
Sure, man. I'm
It'll be fine.
I probably won't qualify.
It'll be fine.
Dude,
it'll be fine.
I don't know why this just popped in my head, because we're talking about sketchy jumps, but out at GH today, Hardy Munoz went by.
Oh, God.
I got to see it firsthand.
Oh, did you witness Hardy in action?
God, dude.
It's great.
That thing was stepping out right, left,
backwards.
Left. He's pinning it. I'm just like, I'm backing off because I don't know where he's going to end up. Yeah.
He is the definition of somebody that, I'm not saying would be fast going, but Hardy is the definition of being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That is, yeah.
In an isolated zone, you would watch him, and he's one of those people you're like, I don't know how you can ride a motorcycle any faster.
Yeah, that's true. It was nuts. Anyway, back to you, Jordan. So I want to ask you how much prep, coming off of Supercross, very limited amount of time, couple weeks to get ready for outdoors. How many 30s did you get a chance to put in? That's actually a question we're going to talk about in a little while on the X-Brand forum check-in after we get done talking to you. But did you get to do a lot of 30s? Had you done some, during the off weeks? Where were you at?
Yeah, racing West Coast this year is actually like gave me more time to get prepped than I've ever had going into outdoors. So I would say I probably did, just the 2 weeks before, in between Supercross and outdoors, I probably did honestly 11 or 12 35.
Okay.
And then before Supercross was over, I probably did another, I would say 10 to 12 maybe. So maybe even a couple more. So yeah, I have a decent amount of time on outdoors this year. Yeah, probably the most prep that I've ever had for sure.
That's good. Yeah, you said conditioning wasn't really an issue, but the temperatures were also a little low. Was that a bit of a bummer for you? Would you have rather been hot and gnarly?
We'll see after this weekend, because it's going to be hot this weekend. I think that that's one of my strengths is going to be, whenever it gets gnarlier, hotter, rougher tracks, just my fitness at the end of I can really push. So we'll see this weekend, but I think that it should be an advantage for me.
Okay.
Hey, Jordan, I'm curious about something. This is only your second year for Star. Going, I want to say a criticism, but we've also heard this comment a couple times about training program at Star. Very intense, a lot of accountability on the stopwatch all the time. However, you have somebody like Levi who left and notably said that he wanted to work more on his technique and try out different things during the week and focus on different things. And clearly for Levi, the overall change has been a positive. I think we saw in Supercross, Hayden go away for a week or two and kind of work on some stuff and feel better about that. Have you noticed from that perspective, like any of that feedback kind of changed the program that you guys have undergone over the last, year and a half or so you've been there? Has it changed the approach at all? Like, oh, maybe we do need to make a little more time for this or that? Or again, we just as fans or just we hear these things and it's kind of like, well, no, we already do work on that stuff. It's being overstated, or it's not factual or quite correct what we hear.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some truth into that. We have, I would say, done a little, not much, but we have done a little bit more as far as, like before it was, just pretty much, like you said, like every moto is like on the clock, and just like really going as fast as you can. I would say over the past, honestly, like probably the past year, and even more like coming into outdoors this year, more so than during Supercross, we've done a little bit more of, maybe like an 80% moto where you're kind of working on something. We have a sand track in the trails that we just went out there one day, didn't even use pit boards or lap times or anything, just went out, rode, worked on what we needed to work on, because everyone needs to work on something a little different. So, I have seen a slight change in the program a little bit, but, there's benefits and to everything, and not everyone needs, everyone can always be better with technique and stuff like that, but sometimes you need to just go out and grind those hard motos. So, we're finding I think a pretty decent balance of that.
Well, I've got you on the, I would say the level of like an openness and honestness. I have a interesting question for you that gets, I've brought this up to a few riders, and something that's unique about our sport. I guess it's one of those things like trying to explain to General Joe Blow, like what's going on here. So your contract with Star, I believe, is up at the end of this year. We kind of all have an idea of what your future looks like, but the way the sport is, there's not a way to confirm it. In MotoGP and NASCAR and F1, things of that nature, deals can be announced a year early. Doesn't really matter. From a rider's perspective, can you explain to us like why we don't hear about this stuff early? Is it truly as precise as something in your contract that like there is no announcement dates allowed? You guys are under what was it, like an NDA sort of situation? Is it that strict in moto compared to what we see in other sports?
Or can you tell us what's going on next week or next year?
Or as Jamie wants to ask, I
don't really know why our sport is so secretive, to be honest with you. It is very, compared to other sports, like there's no public knowledge of, how much we get paid, how long our deals are. It's all like hearsay, even I see stuff all the time about this person's deal, that person's deal, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's right. Like how long they have on the deal or whatever. And it's just like everything is just what someone's heard. I don't know. I think that our sport could maybe benefit from a little bit more openness whenever it comes to that stuff. I don't know. Maybe you could come out and just say exactly what's going to happen and nothing would happen. I don't really know.
Right.
So I guess that's a question for my agent. So, but no, I don't know. It's I wish that I think there could be benefit in some more public knowledge of kind of what we're racing for. It's been a little bit more public with the SMX stuff. Like that's way more money than what has ever really been public knowledge of what we're racing for. Obviously you have Monster Cup, but that was if someone went 1-1-1, they got the million, where SMX now is someone's making $1 million in the 450 class, someone's making 500,000 in the 250 class. So that's pretty cool. I think that it could also possibly, open some people's eyes to why some of us would stay in the 250 class longer. If you saw, how much a top 3 250 guys making on, like after bonuses, that kind of stuff, compared to, if you go out there and you're not in the top 10 in the 450 class, and you don't get an offer to ride, like if you look at the 450 class, pretty much every single person on a factory 450 has won some sort of 250 championship. Mm-hmm. Like it is almost impossible to get a 450 ride without winning a championship in the 250 class, And so at the end of the day, like someone like myself, I have a family to provide for. I enjoy racing dirt bikes, but I need to make money at the same time. That's my job. And, so, and we make pretty good money in the 250 class. So, I don't know, I love to not be in the 250 class and be in the 450 and be able to make money and race against, the very top, like race the very top tier series in the world. Yeah, absolutely. But that's just not in the cards right now. So, I think that more public knowledge of kind of everything could possibly benefit. I'm sure that someday it will be, I think maybe with more, with more betting stuff going on now. I know that the NFL and stuff, it's a big deal if a team doesn't disclose that their player has an injury, because you have millions of dollars being bet on said player, and if they know that they're hurt, then it's a big deal. So
of course,
maybe that's gonna, I don't know if it's the same thing. I don't know why injuries are such a big deal in our sport either. Like, if you're hurt, like, I don't think that, like, I mean, at least myself, maybe there's people that will, but I know myself isn't going to be like, RJ, he has a hurt knee, like, he has a tweaked knee, I'm going to try and, like, which one is it? I'm going to go for that thing, I don't think anyone's thinking about that on the track, so. I mean, if you can race with it, you might as well, like, people might as well know about it. So.
I've always said with the injury one, especially, unless you're insanely good at keeping it wraps, if you're worried about your competition knowing, they know. Because, some chances are your teammate or one of the mechanics, it got to said rider on your team that you ate shit that week during the week.
Yeah.
Like, everybody kind of that is around it knows. It's only the fans that are in the dark, and then they're like, why is rider A sucking so bad? Yep. And then at the end of the season, finally, well, I was riding hurt all year. Okay. Yeah, you didn't really matter. Everybody in the line already knew you were jacked up, because as we all joke, we all look 100%. At you like that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that you don't want to know already knows. So might as well just let everyone know. You know, it's crazy.
The pay one that drives me nuts a little bit. Like, I actually had this conversation. Me and Lewis were joking about this in our podcast. It's funny what you hear walking along the fence line at a national, what a fan thinks. And I was walking by a fan who was going on a Chance Hymas rant, actually.
Oh, wow.
He was telling his friend, he's out at Honshire, look how terrible he's this and this. I stopped him. I'm like, okay, tell me this right now. I said, who do you think's going to replace him? And he named off a couple guys. I'm like, nope, that guy signed, this guy signed, that guy signed. Like, nope, not happening. And he's like, well, all this money they've spent on him. And again, it's a little bit hearsay, but I'm like, what do you think he makes? And he threw a number out there, and I'm like, no, Chance doesn't make near that. Like, his is
he's not making Jordon Smith money.
Well, because they're at HRC, they think of what Jett's making, and they're like, he's got to be making good. It's pretty surprising. You have probably Jett going, if not currently the highest pay rider, will be on the next contract deal. Like, Jett highest paid in the sport, and then Chance is probably one of the lowest paid factory 250 level riders in terms of base pay. He has geared a part of the other things of being a Honda, but I think it would change people's perspective on riders at certain teams, guys that are even on factory level teams on bonus only sometimes, or things like that, guys that are taking, they've been given a chance, but they're also willing to risk it in the sense of, I'm not getting paid, I'm here. I think it really would change people's perspective, and
if teams
are embarrassed enough to say it, maybe it'll help some of these guys make a little more as well. Like, if the number's too embarrassing to say out loud, it's. I think I can only really see good in it, in the sense of, if it's an embarrassing number, it'll make people step up, and if it is what it is, again, it's a guy getting a chance on bonus only or something like that, then at least the fans understand, respect it. Like, hey, this guy's riding for a career and a chance at the moment, man. He's got nothing.
Yep, for sure. And I mean, that's, a lot of the fans would be very surprised at some of the numbers that people make, I think, and just in general, and like how many guys are, just trying to reboot their career, and they like, I mean, we love doing it, and we want it. It's what we know. And so, it's, I took barely any money at all to go race Firepower for a year, to try and reboot my career and stuff. And, it's just, it would definitely, I think, I don't know how, you could, obviously, if it was more public, that would be cool. I think that would be cool too. Like, I think it would be cool if fans could see, like, what the 450 guys, like I said, like a 10th place 450 guy, what they're making or like what I could get offered in a 450 ride. Like I'm not going to get any offers for a 450 ride right now. Like it's just not really going to happen, you know? So, what that number would be that I would be racing for versus what I'm making in 250, like maybe later on down the road, that may be the fix of having more people in the 450 class, but you have to they would have to make the 450 teams pay a certain amount or something, you know? Like I think that maybe like a world supercross where it basically is like the teams have to field a certain amount of riders, so that way that the teams have the certain amount of riders on the track, and then have a minimum salary, kind of like the NFL or whatever, you know, or maybe a salary cap in the 250 class or whatever. I don't know, but it would be eye-opening for some fans for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Just a couple more for you, Jordan. Staying on that same topic, just staying in the 250 class, because obviously you mentioned not as many opportunities in the 450 class, certainly not as much money. Maybe if you were to move up, how would you feel if they decided to make the 250 class in Supercross just a national class? You race the entire series, and you never have to move up if you don't want to.
I think that it would be fun. I think though, if you're gonna do if this was gonna become reality, like you would have to AMA, Feld, whoever's gonna do it. I don't know who would put this rule in place. Probably Feld would require a team to run a certain amount of riders, you know, because if not, like it's going to become the same thing as the 450 class where like teams don't want to sign someone that's going to run 15th place, you know, like it just doesn't really do them any good. And I think that would hurt the younger guys in the end, you know, like where right now a lot of young guys, whether they make it or they don't make it, a lot of guys get a chance, you know, and the ones that, I mean, I've been in the class a long time, the ones that make it to 450, like they're good enough to beat, you know, old guys like me. And so it's, you know, they're just, I mean, I think that you have to keep giving those young kids opportunities. You know, if I would just worry if you did a national class, then, you know, Star right now, what do we have, like 7 or 8 guys going into Supercross? Like maybe that goes down to only 4 if you have a full thing, you know, PC or even, you know, Husky has like 3 guys going into Supercross. Maybe that's only 2 guys or 1 guy if it goes to a full series, you know, where we're doing every race. So I think that it would be cool as long as they could somehow put in some regulations to make sure that teams still had, like, there were still 20 factory rides or however many factory rides there are.
Yeah, I still think there's a lot that could be done there. Minimum rides, minimum salaries, even minimum fill-ins, just teams that won't field riders. And I get the teams' counter arguments a lot of the times more in the 450 class because, again, they're like, okay, who's going to ride this bike that's even going to make top 10 or top 15? I get it, but it also sucks to not see opportunities hand out. And actually, on the subject of opportunities, I saw you. I mean, we've all kind of like, there was talk this last week that Gavin Towers would be going to EMX and MX2 for the remainder of the year. I saw you post a little, you know, good luck on his behalf because you've been training and riding with him this year. Cool opportunity for Gavin, at least, because I know US was looking, he was kind of in a weird little boat there.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. Really cool opportunity. You don't see very many guys go from here over there. A lot more guys coming this way. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for him. I think it's, you know, I think that it's, you know, more it's getting a little bit better with, you know, having more future races and stuff. But I think over the last 10 or so years, the amateur side of motocross has gotten to where I don't think the guys race enough. So whenever it's time to go pro, I don't think that that they've done enough racing with, like, you know, you have a lot of nationals and stuff, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's like 4 big nationals a year or something. I think that, you know, back in the day, like we used to do a lot of like the whole Winter Am series and Gold Cups and that kind of stuff. And like you would go down and like there would be, you know, me, Plessinger, AC, Cooper, and a handful of other guys that like didn't even make it, you know, that were really fast back then. and you would race those guys every single weekend, So I think that it's going to be good for Gavin to go over there, race every weekend, get that kind of that racecraft down. Because the kid goes so fast at like the farm and stuff, even on Supercross, like literally leading up to Salt Lake, like one day on the top track, he was smoking me every session that we did that day. Had a faster qualifying time, faster in the moto. Like he really rides good. And, I don't know if it's a mental thing for him or just a lack of racing or what, but I think that, it's going to be good for him to go over there, get that race experience, get the gate drops every single weekend. Cause it's one of those things where, in amateurs, you may race a spring national and then you go 2 months until you're regional. And then you go another 2 months until Loretta's. So like, you don't like whenever you're a pro or you're racing like the GPs, like it's a lot more back to back. So it's like, okay, what did I do wrong last weekend? What can I fix with it? Like it's a lot more fresh in your mind. It gets, I think it's going to help him out. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so. I like the kids and like to see him have a successful career. We're going to close out with this one. This is just sort of a fun question I've asked once in a while. If you knew you could get away with it, what's your crime of choice?
Crime of choice.
Don't be like Lewis and say murder.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah.
No, I don't think I want to murder. I don't think I want to murder anyone. Let's see. This is gonna be probably no one's gonna say this one. I'm gonna play golf at Augusta. I'm just gonna walk down Magnolia Lane with my golf bag, and I'm just gonna start playing.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see that one coming, and I like it. All right, I mean, that's a good one.
That's not what I expected.
No, most people seem to lean toward like rob a bank. You just
do a bank robbery,
keep the money. But
I'd say like straight up GTA 5 in real life. I want to rob a bank, and escape. I'd be
awesome. Well, Jordan, man,
maybe if I have more time, I might be able to come up with something a little bit more mischievous. But we're going to Augusta, baby.
All right, well, Jordan, thanks so much for your time. Good luck this weekend. Go get that podium, buddy.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Bye.
Jordon Smith tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. Always a great guest. I do think he's going to have a really good season. If he can keep it on two wheels, he looks super strong at Fox. I mean, I know we can't always take away what we see from Fox and let that go into the East Coast rounds, but I was impressed with his riding. He looked good in Supercross, and some mistakes cost him a title run.
I think my big one is what he said. I mean, if he just gets through the whole season good, hopefully gets his first career overall podium. But build, again, it kind of comes up that subject of what I asked him. Of course, we all know that he's got a different home next year. He will not be with Star Racing. Looks like he will probably go into Triumph. I just think that program's proven to be really good. He can go there and be a bit of a veteran, a team captain in a way. Hopefully, maybe it's kind of interesting. If we had more time, I'd love to ask Jordan this, and maybe once he gets to his next home, I could ask him this next year. But I'd love to know. He's the only guy I can think of that's been on so many factory level 250 programs between Geico, PC, TLD, Star, and now they're just talk to him about the differences in the programs.
That actually might make a good feature.
I think a really good feature. The differences in when he was there, the ability for each one. Did you feel when you were there that you were racing? What the expectations are of that team? Is it championship? Is it not? What does the team focus on? Are they most focused on the rider, on the bike, the fitness, different things? So I'm kind of curious. He has so much experience across all those teams to go there. I mean, like I said, I hope he gets to the summer clean. Hopefully gets maybe that first career podium, but builds for next year, because it kind of seems like, okay, if it's similar how it was RJ's year this year, I'm feeling like, because the way the 250 class has shifted, depends who he's up against next year, but it's like, okay, next year could be really Jordan's year. He's been really close last year, but to really race for the title, you think it's getting there. The next year or two has got to be go time for him if he's going to get it done to get it done.
Absolutely. All right, let's jump into the X-Brand Forum check-in. X-Brand goggles are your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, including the 2023 XC1 champion Craig DeLong, the 2023 National Hare and Hound XC1 champion Dalton Shuri, 2023 AMA National Enduro champion Grant Baylor. Basically, what we're saying is off-road riders love them. They win championships, the best goggles on the market. They can get through GNCC races and enduros. They can get through anything. But also motocross and supercross riders like Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Noren, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, Jerry Robin, all choose X-Brand, ekasbrand.com. Go to your local dealership and ask for X-Brand, distributed through WPS. So I was looking, I wrote this or I looked at this forum post yesterday, and I went to go look at it today, and it seems to be gone. But the title,
delete it?
Huh?
I was joking. I said, did I delete it?
You might have. I don't think it was anything bad, but the YZ133 put in Stu, quote, they haven't done any 30-minute motos yet, which...
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so James Stewart made that comment Saturday, and I think a lot of viewers maybe that don't follow it super heavy might be like, what do you mean they haven't done any 30-minute motos? So I want to, you've been in this industry a long time. You know how these guys train. Sometimes they're doing testing, and that gets in the way of maybe doing 30s. So why would a rider maybe not put in a lot of 30s before Nationals actually start?
So I had a couple riders tell me that. I think Cody had joked about only doing 2 30s. Or a couple guys joked about, I think it was last year Aaron was in that position. This year he said he had done a lot, or maybe it was vice versa. It's just situational. It depends. Like for the 450 guys, maybe they've been so heavily focused on Supercross that the couple days towards the end of the season that they decide to do outdoors, they just decide to test, do some sprints, work on the bike. Because at that point, if they've been doing Supercross and they're fit, I think they know getting to the 30 isn't going to be that much harder, and they're really focused on the very limit. I think it would shock people how limited their time is to do the outdoor testing and how little quality time you get.
But didn't Jett say they didn't do? Jett said they didn't do hardly any.
Well, he got jacked up the week they did a heavy test, and I'll show you. He rode outdoors a couple times, but the big heavy test was the week after him and Barsha collided, so he was pretty banged up. So I know Hunter did a lot of it. Trey did a lot of it. He missed one of the big tests. And that's, again, their timing is so limited, and as many resources as the teams take, especially on the 450 side, to test now, like flying crews somewhere, other stuff, it's not as straightforward as you would think. When they get in those situations, they test till sun up till sundown. They do 3 laps, pull the stuff off. 3 laps, do the pull off. Do a lap, that didn't work. You don't test and do – if you try to do 30s, you're going to test 2 things all day, and that is not the goal. The guys know they're in shape. They know they can get there. Also, you're in the middle of racing Supercross. Why – a lot of those guys are trying to recover during the week. Okay, like going out and burning 30s when if you've had a good season, you had a good off season, you have your base fitness built up, you're recovering during the week, you're doing maintenance, you're trying to work on your Supercross technique. If you're still in the Supercross championship, you need to work on that. Plus, you're being asked to test outdoors. What time do you have to do a day of 30-minute motos and destroy your body?
Right. Well, now Jordan just said he's done a bunch, though. So, right, like you said,
250 West versus East
they have
is very
time
different.
off.
Yes, because the West guys have time. Now, East guys run in as their title runs late, and if you're in the title fight, you get a very limited time. West Coast guys get that break. So 250s, if you hear it, it's usually because a guy's been hurt, and they just straight up, like, they barely got going again. I mean, as gnarly as these guys, I get it. Maybe some of us that don't ride as hard, like it might be easier to get up to long moto. I've seen it for Cody. Some of those guys, like, for them to go out there and run at full intensity outdoors, it takes a while for them to build back up to a 30. So they're getting going again. They just don't have possibly they're just so limited.
Right.
So 250 guys, it's usually injury. 450 could be injury, or guys just running late into the season on Supercross, and just the realistic of how limited the time we are. We can sit here and beat this till a dead horse. We do every year. Like Supercross and outdoors are too close together, in my opinion. We are back to 1 week off this year after we had 2 weekends off. I would love to see it where the schedule works out. I'm not going to sit here. The sport's changed. I know some people would love to see more motocross than Supercross. I'd love to see only 10 rounds Supercross. It's not happening. If I'm being realistic, I'd love to see 2 less Supercross races and get a month off between the seasons. That, to me, is fairly realistic in the way our sport is. And I think most riders, Tom, would appreciate now, since the schedule has swollen with SMX, trimming like 2 SX races down and giving those guys a gap in between, I think would be really good. Everybody wouldn't be – most of the guys I talked to at the opening round of Supercross are so stressed out. The mechanics, the teams, everybody, because the turnaround is so gnarly. Like, I definitely have heard more going through COVID – the way the COVID schedule worked out and how late we ran that year, and then how it's moved into now SMX, I have definitely heard a higher amount of team crew members that are just over it. Like, just unhappy, like, with the job and the situation. And like I said, everybody rants when they're having a bad day. I get it, but it's becoming more and more all the time. And I feel for the guys. I mean, I've seen it with teams struggling to get mechanics because we've had a really bad turnover rate the last 3 or 4 years, where it used to be, you had all these old school legendary mechanics that hung around forever. I see a lot of guys that are just like, yeah, man, this sucks. I'm out.
Yeah, that's a pretty general comment. We do hear that a lot. So as a fan, I don't want to see 2 less Supercrosses, but then as working in the industry and knowing what these guys are going through and all that, I agree with you.
I guess as a fan, maybe it's different from stick and ball sport racing, like F1 and MotoGP. I always compare that because I'm a motorsports guy. I'm not a stick and ball fan. I'll just admit it right now. I guess it would be like the difference between football and baseball. How many goddamn baseball games do they play a year?
12,000, I think.
Like 80 or 100 compared to 30 something.
Same with
what's
basketball.
football? What's football? 30 games a year? I don't know.
I don't even remember. I think it's like 16-week season now, or it's not. Yeah, it's changed, but.
That's the same moto. Like I think I'm a quantity over quality kind of guy.
Yeah.
They start like Supercross season starts to blend together after a while.
Sure,
it does. Outdoors even gets that tick towards the end. At least there's some quality and some difference there. But that's why I'm saying like I could trim a couple and it wouldn't hurt my feelings, even as a fan of the sport that wants to see racing. There's MXGP. There's MotoGP. There's other things I could watch on a weekend. I'd rather see a little. I'd rather see the general mechanic and rider in our sport not want to put a gun.
I can just go to the track and not have to worry about getting back in time to watch the race and make the press conference. And So fair enough.
That's where I'm at.
Fair enough. We're gonna try to get Jett Reynolds on. Just so you know, ML, we're gonna skip the Barnett clutches segment for a minute because we're up against the clock.
Supposed to hit start recording, by the way?
If you wanted a backup. So we don't have that backup recording audio, but that's okay. We can pull it off YouTube if we need it.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Thinking about the file later.
Scotty's laughing at you right now.
Is he?
I don't know. I mean, you're watching the chat. I don't even know if he's listening. But
I don't think he is. Oh, I just screwed up again.
Did you?
I forgot. You said you don't have any photos of Jett Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, no photos. We're waiting to see if Jett answers the phone. He hasn't responded to the text. We do have someone on the phone, hopefully. So hopefully he's responded. He's going to be brought to you tonight by FXR, which is designed by racers for racers. With industry-leading fit, finish, and performance, progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Used by the muck-off FXR ClubMX Yamaha team, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, and many more. FXR has core moto roots, so visit fxrracing.com or go to your local dealership and ask for FXR. Tonight, FXR brings us from the muck-off FXR ClubMX Yamaha team, Jett Reynolds. What's up, Jett? Nobody there, Jett? You're not there?
I think we got the end of his voicemail.
All righty, we got his voicemail. So we will try him back in a few minutes, which means I guess we can try to get into the Barnett clutch performance of the week real quick.
I'm going to go back and press button. Oh, still messing up here.
That's all right. That's all right. We're all rookies in this. I'm new at this too. With 75 years of experience behind them, Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials exclusive to Barnett for maximum performance and durability. Get 10% off with promo code VITALMX, that's all caps, VITALMX, at barnettclutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. So, do you have a clutch performance of the week from this past week? I'm going to text Jett back and tell him I need a...
Clutch performance.
If you
I kind of have two. Okay, so one of them, I saw a lot of people bag on Hunter for fading in the second moto. Oh man, this is me stretching. But I'm just saying, for my own personal reason, I absolutely loved seeing Hunter run with his brother, try to make the move. Because the way I look at it is, none of us question Hunter's fitness. It's not that he's out of shape. He probably sent it pretty freaking hard. I just love that we saw somebody get in there in the Chase Jett mix and show that they can do it this year. I have no concern that Hunter won't be able to put that together for a moto after a week or two. So, that would be my clutch performance in one take, just seeing Hunter willing to push the edge and go with those guys and prove that he can do it. I think that means way more than him being, it's like, say, what was he, 20, 30 seconds off? I would rather see him run with them than back off early and finish 10 seconds off them or 8 seconds off, because I know he can get there.
Yeah, I agree. I was really happy with how he rode. And that was actually one of the questions I thought about asking you at the beginning during the RaceTech open discussion was, were you surprised by Hunter's performance so early on a 450?
A little bit, but that's why I love is that he stamped that. I like that. I always tell you, I like setting a tone, a precedence. I say this, whether it's Supercross practicing. I just love it when people go out there and set a precedence. I said it going this weekend, 250 class. I thought after Deegan losing a title, like Vial winning a ton, RJ, they had hope. Levi had a lot of hope. I say it like, yeah, you don't need to kill yourself to round one. I know the old saying is you can't win the championship at round one, but in Hayden, and I guess that'll be my other clutch one. Did Hayden need to win the opening round? No. Stamping it that hard, like, that's pretty good. Like, that's, again, you're setting a precedence and reminding these guys, like, hey, I know you think you're going to run for this title with me, but I'm the favorite. Like, I like setting precedence.
Yeah, I do too.
Like I said, maybe some of these guys are mentally strong. Maybe it doesn't affect them. But the back of their mind, no matter what, they got to be like, oh, yeah, he's going to be hard to beat. And you just, I don't know, you want to put that out there. You want to put that back even to the guys that are 5th or 6th. So when you're next moto, if you get a bad start and you're behind them, they almost kind of go, like when you come up, they're like, oh, yeah, there ain't no way I'm hanging on to this dude. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. My Barnett clutch performance of the week is Chance Hymas, who you talked about earlier.
Yes, that's a great one.
Fantastic ride. Qualified 4th on the day, and then went 3-4 for 4th overall, holding off Vial and Savacci in Moto 1. I think Swole and Joe Shimoda in Moto 2, if I'm not mistaken. Very impressive ride from Chance. And if he could keep up rides like that, then that lower budget, that lower pay rate that he might be at, might rise. He was very impressive. One of the best rides I've seen out of him in a long time.
No, I mean, he said even though High Point's a standout of him leading last year, he self-admitted he considered this his best outdoor performance because it was 2 motos back-to-back. So I think, I think that was his best outdoor performance. I think it's come at the right time when there's question marks on him. The team believes in him at the end of the day. They're going to re-up him, but still the team is also pressuring him like, hey, we need to see more out of you. So I think right situation, right time. Again, first round, it'd be one thing if Chance came in and just was like, okay, I'm under the radar. People aren't expecting much of me and build slowly. People would be stoked in a couple rounds, but again, to come out the first round, stamp it, I'm here to be a top 5 guy, go to podiums, try to lead some this summer. It's just starting off in a great place. Like if he would have started off 10th in each moto, I still would have been like, okay, yeah, he's had a rough year. That's okay. And it would have taken a couple rounds to build to a 5th and then build towards podium. Now where you started, it's like, okay, expectations there. Go out and run podium.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, just rides like that from him and some of the other rides we've talked about. This 250 outdoor championship, as long as everybody stays healthy and we're not just kind of jumping the gun at Fox, I think we're just going to have a really fun championship, even if it's just basically like if Levi and Hayden are the standout top 2 guys. There's some really good battles going on 3 through 7.
And if you're one of those guys on the outside looking in a little bit, like it's sort of, I mean, you want to get there, but you're also only abiding your time for a short time. RJ and Tom can only defend 250s one more year each. And they're out. Yeah. RJ said he wanted to go 450 outdoor next year. I wonder if that'll change outdoors, basically losing out on his final 250 outdoor championship year. But if you're looking at those two, it's like, okay, those two will be out at least in another year. Hayden, I think, is only on a 250 outdoors. If he wins this title, he probably does something like a Jett defends next year. The next year rides, we're talking away 26, maybe rides a 250 indoor, 450 outdoor. So you're looking at Jett exiting in the next year or two. I don't think Levi would be far behind him. So if you're somebody like Chance, it's like, okay, I need to start executing because, the next in line is your Smith and your Shimoda, but put yourself in that conversation. Your window is coming very quickly. It may still be a year and a half out, but it's going to come quick. So you need to put yourself in that situation. So if you're one of those guys had these top talents beating you, there's about to be a big exodus. Like when Lawrence is where it felt like nobody could win. Now the group that's going to win right now executed at that time. It's kind of weird. I think with racing, everybody just, it's all about your last race. But if you're also somebody, like I said, Jordan's situation, I hope he does great this summer, but I also hope there's that frame of mind for next year. Like build, it's your time.
Yep.
It's your time. Think of this a little bit long run. Like your time is coming. The door is open. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's coming again because he had some opportunities early in his career before all the injuries hit him up. So yeah, it's time to finish that out for Jordan. So still no response from Jett. I did reach out to Mike Bonacci, asked if he was around Jett out there at club. So hopefully we'll get a response and get him on. Just so you guys know, first of all, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. If you guys want to get involved, you want to send in your ProX top 5s or your Yamaha highs and lows, any of that stuff, the EVS picks for the next race are coming up. We'd love to have you guys involved. And also don't forget to go to vitalmx.com and sign up for the fantasy game. But yeah, this week was a little difficult getting guests. I had Malcolm Stewart locked in, and then he realized that the KTM group is doing a meet and greet with some of their corporate guys at headquarters, so he couldn't do it. So we were kind of scrounging for guests, and then Jett said he would do it, and now he's not answering. So, yeah, that happens sometimes. But next week, tentatively, Malcolm is in, and Tom Vial has said he would do it. So we should have a really good show next week. But we're going to jump into the ProX top 5s, and if Jett does respond in the next 15, 20 minutes, we'll do a interview with him. But ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro Yamaha, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They've been supplying quality components for almost 50 years, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets. ProX claims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. Find ProX at your local dealer or visit prox-usa.com and search for your parts today. ProX top 5 this week is things that only exist to annoy people. At least that's what it was supposed to be. Some of the responses I got from some of my co-hosts are just things that annoy them in general. So we can go with things that annoy you. Next week, if you would like to get involved, it's going to be the top 5 riders who didn't necessarily meet their potential in your mind. Do you have your top 5?
No, because you didn't tell me about
Did I not send you a text on that?
No.
Well, okay, I'm going to read mine then.
Okay,
and I'll read
work on it.
TJ's and Scotty's, and you can think about it. I thought I sent it because I did send it to Jeff Walker. I thought I sent them both.
I got no prep notes for this.
Well, you know what? You're supposed to be able to think on the fly. Okay.
One of my top 5 prep for the
There you go. You only need 4 more. Perfect. 4 more. All right, let me scroll down here and find, I screenshot all the boys from back home. Okay, TJ's top 5 curb dividers in the road, like on the loop in Tyler, Texas. So you can't make a U-turn or get across the median.
Oh, welcome. They're everywhere out here.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a good one. He put mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are really bad. I guess they're funny. Kiefer and I had this talk last night. Mosquitoes not generally a thing out here, but like over the last year, sounds like they've been.
So like us having grass on the backyard, we had these. It's funny is everybody jokes calls them ankle biters because they're really low flying ones and they literally just chew on your ankles. Yes, we've had all of a sudden the last couple of years we've had this like migration of these little mosquitoes. They're very irritating. We're just getting spring, summer. I haven't really noticed them this year, but last year they were driving me insane, and I wear flip-flops. So
yeah,
I finally had to go back to shoes for a couple months because I was literally walking in with like 20 mosquito bites on my feet every night. That would be just going from the garage to the house back and forth a couple times.
They're bad. Actually, Amber was in California last week for a couple of days, and she just got annihilated by them in Texas. So, yeah, mosquitoes suck. TJ went on to say TikTok. He feels like it just exists to annoy him. I don't really get that one because you don't have to look at TikTok, TJ. It's not that hard. This one's uncomfortable, but he said random boners at inappropriate times. Okay, I don't know.
Inappropriate boners, I mean, that can be a rough one.
Yeah, and then he closes out with people who think they are better than other people because they spell better or jump freestyle ramps further. That would be a direct attack on me because I always give him crap about spelling. And he went to this Madden MX park where we live that has some freestyle ramps, and he was showing pictures of him jumping it last week, and I instantly sent one of me jumping one further. He's like, yeah, that's what you would do, man. You can't just say, glad you're having fun, Jamie. You just got to make it, one up me. I was like, wow. Well, so basically he's saying a-holes annoy him. And I think that's fair. Jeremy, one of our guys said, go into a restaurant that puts online orders above sitting customers. $10 coffee, everyone trying to be an influencer, driving in the rain and the dotted white lines are faint, and rednecks with glass packs cut out that drives them crazy. So loud ass trucks. Scotty said news channels, Amber Alerts. Why would Amber Alerts annoy you? Like it's trying to save kids, bro.
Wow. That's
rude.
You
can turn them off. He might not be able to though. He has a Droid. Maybe he can't turn them off. Having to give your phone and email at retail stores, the DMV, and surveys. Those are what annoy my co-hosts. Mine are people who can't spell. That annoys me. And mainly it's when you don't know the difference between there, your. Yep. That annoys me.
Yeah.
Hard plastic packaging. When you get a new tool or something, it's in that plastic that just will not open. And when you do finally
and not even scissors will go through it.
Yeah.
You're like using like cutters.
Yeah, and once you get it open, it's razor sharp, so it just slices you open. That annoys. Yep. Air hand dryers in bathrooms. I hate those.
Yeah, I'd rather just have.
They don't work.
Yep.
They don't work. Speed limit signs 35 miles an hour or lower annoy me. Mm-hmm. Should never have a speed limit under 35. I don't care if it's residential. Keep your kids off the road. That might be a little drastic.
A little bit.
Okay. And this one's for you, Amber. Country music just exists to annoy me.
Jeez.
Yeah. sort of, well, I mean, people know I don't like it, but it's a little bit of an inside joke with her and I. But
all
right, those are mine. Did you think of a couple more?
Sorry,
That's
I had
all
a
right.
text going back
No,
and
you're
forth.
good.
I just
You're
realized that. Let's see. The first one. What was the first one?
Me not preparing you.
Yeah, me not preparing me for the show. Lately, I am usually really good at changing tubes, and I pinched like 4 tubes the other day and had a grade A meltdown and threw a tire and a tube across the shop. So pinched tubes, very high on the list.
Okay.
Very high. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not fond of doing that myself.
Yeah. Auto like maintenance, like working on my vehicle drives me nuts. I can do it. I'm capable of it. I just hate it.
You've had to do a lot of that lately too, right? You had a problem with the van.
I had the van half apart the other day trying to change this oil to water intercooler separator piece that was like buried under the turbo in an EGR cooler. And I'm watching I got 3 extensions out trying to get this weird little Torx headed bolt that
and
is
it
apparently
drops.
hidden in there.
Well, I know a guy, TJ, who has a mobile automotive repair truck, and he wants to make a trip to California. He'd probably just drive out here for the hell of it to help you fix that next time. Might take 27 hours.
You bring his little electric bike to hang out.
Yeah. So, all right. That is the ProX top 5 things that annoy you. Don't forget, next week is riders that didn't meet their potential in your opinion. MotoXpodshow@gmail.com if you want to get involved in that. Still nothing from Jett. This might be a little bit of a short show. And since we're all making mistakes tonight, I skipped over the Evans coolant emails. So we'll jump on those. Evans wireless coolant protects your engine because
how'd you skip over it? The top 5s were above that on the little list here.
Because I didn't write it in my notes. I just went right over it.
Well, no, you're in the correct order. It goes ProX top 5 and then Evans.
Well, it's still, look there. It's right there.
It's right there.
Whew.
It's right there.
It's right there. I didn't skip over it. I'm crushing it tonight. Evans waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays liquid. Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation, but with Evans, the metal is always liquid cooled, used by HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA, and Pro Factory Yamaha, and lots of other teams regardless of their sponsorship. Evans is in the bikes on the podium. All right, so I got this one from Nick Garcia. Here's a topic that's been on my mind. Don't answer money. But what would a team like ClubMX or Firepower Honda need to do to keep their A-level riders? If you were the owner of said teams, you've been the owner of a team before, what would your 5-year plan be to get the same level as Star Racing, Yamaha, etc.? I don't want to hear more money. Tell me how you will make that money. It annoys me as a fan seeing teams like Star snatching every rider up. How are these other teams supposed to flourish and survive when their top riders keep getting snatched? Do you have an answer for Nick? Because I have no idea without money.
Money. It's. I mean,
so I guess
but
how would you make money?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
the problem teams only make money one. I mean, yeah, you could make money off merch sales, a couple things, but at the end of the day, it's sponsorship dollars. If I now knowing what I know, having done a team, yes, I think most teams do not operate off a multi-year plan, which is bad. That just seems to be the sport in general. I've said about riders, and it should be clear cut. But yeah, if I were building a team that direction. The problem is I think every team ends up in the same situation. The mid-level ones that are coming up have the opportunity to maybe jump the plan one year, or somebody comes up and they kind of throw it out the window for an opportunity. But if you had a real level-headed mind, the other one's hard to time is because the OEM, whatever OEM you're on, the bike changes so often. I think you need to have a game plan where you look at what year your bike's on, when is it going to change next. Like you need to have a certain amount of people and infrastructure built up. Let's say you're on a platform and it's changing you have 2 years to race it and then it's changing. There's certain things I would spend money on. Infrastructure, you got to keep sponsors happy. So you got to get good enough-ish riders to do that, work on your social media, kind of work a little bit on everything, but probably build up infrastructure and people. Get to the point I wouldn't spend too much immediately on the bikes that is a cost that only works on one model year. I would work on equipment and things that could be spent that is going to bring you to the next platform. Get through your first year on the next platform. You got to build, improve the bike. And then maybe on year 4, which would be the second year on the new platform, is when you would probably start targeting bigger names. But his ultimate question is, yeah, at the end of the day, it's money, because money hires the people, it buys the equipment, it does everything. So before that, it would be sponsorship, which is a combination of it's all circle. You have to have better riders, better exposure, better results to get better sponsors, to get more money come around. But at the same time I say that, it depends on sponsors. At the end of the day, in this sport, unless you pull off a miracle and get like what Factory Connection had with Geico at almost $5 million a year, your money is going to come from your assistance from your OEM and an energy drink and maybe the one or two other things that are really embedded, which those guys are the few sponsors that go off results. At the end of the day, Monster wants guys on the podium. Yamaha wants guys on the podium. Gear companies want guys on the podium. So if you're working on inside industry money, you got to do the loop of get a little more money, hire a little bit better riders, get a little better results, get a little bit more money because you did better results, and pray that you can somehow do that every year without having a year where you have a downturn in results. That's the other tough part.
Hell of a business model.
I will say the more done, it's very easy to get trapped in the loop of hiring a lot of riders because you can go to a lot of inside the industry sponsors and name off, we're hiring XYZ, and you get a little bit of money for each one, and using that to try to build the program. I tried to do it more the second year where we went really quality over quantity and did 2 guys and went really gnarly on the equipment, which I think was the right path. Like, we did way better the second year. We got way better exposure. Everything looked better. We were able to focus on it. And if I were to have continued that path, I would have stayed as a 2-man team for a couple of years. It's tough. It's all a loop. At the end of the day, you either have to continue the loop of results to get a little more money within the industry, or you have to pull the lucky thing out of your ass. You either have to have a very big sponsor that you somehow pull in off some crazy proposal, you're doing something unique for them marketing-wise, or you just have to, like L&M's a great example. Yeah, they had a casino, they had some money. What happened? You had Larry Brooks, who knew how to run a team and build a championship-level team, and he had a money guy named Mike Kraniak that was willing to put up a couple million to just get it started without a single sponsor guarantee. Because as far as where they did not have San Manuel lined up till they had already hired Chad Reed, already hired the staff, already were building the bikes. We're already spending millions and millions of dollars, and then the sponsorship came. So at the end of the day, find the sponsor with a lot of money or find the money guy that wants to light on fire. Sorry, dude. Money is the answer.
Or maybe start a team and somehow your kid is the greatest rider in the world and he goes and wins. And then
still costs you a lot of money.
Yeah, I guess still costs you a lot of money.
Either big scale, but it's just a little bit. It's the continuous circle. A little bit better results. A little bit more money. Hire a little bit better guys. I definitely do think a lot of teams get stuck on maybe not doing the infrastructure properly. I think Star finally has really invested in infrastructure recently with the facility and some of that stuff. It's an interesting one when you look at Geico, how much money they never really did facility outside of the big race shop. Maybe looking back at, they could have invested more in the team than just the riders at the time. I think they went really heavy on trying to win by hiring talent. But now I'm turning around, I'm going to contradict myself very heavily.
Perfect.
I said this recently, and I'll say it again. You can win in this sport with a 6 or 7 out of 10 bike with a 9 or 10 out of 10 rider on it. You cannot win in this sport with a 6 out of 10 rider on a 10 out of 10 bike.
Agreed.
You need the rider, so you need the money. Star is an interesting example recently of look at them pay and spraying with riders, and it's just not working out. Like I said this last week, you look at they think, okay, we have the best bike, we have the best this, we'll win. Yeah, Hayden won at the end of the day, but Hayden to me is a 10 out of 10 talent. He really is. Whether you say it's his pure talent on the bike, the work ethic, whatever, he is a 10 out of 10 rider. They've also tried to have a lot of 7 out of 10 guys on the team, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, very true. Let's jump back just for a minute because I got a text. We have another ProX top 5 things that annoy you. He only gave me one, and I don't actually believe it says the number one thing that annoys me. And when I tell you who this is, you'll find this funny. But Mr. Lewis Phillips. So the number one thing that annoys me is when a podcast says that they are going to have a guest, then the podcast can't get that guest on. Very funny.
Yes.
I agree, but I don't believe that's the number one thing that annoys Mr. Lewis Phillips.
No, it's the slander of Chase Sexton.
Or it could be a long list of things.
Yes.
Given the day. But Lewis was not wrong. That is very annoying. And then I'm
glad that Lewis is listening. Thank you, Lewis.
Yeah, he likes to listen. He'll give me a little critique. What did you think of the show? And I know, like, when I answer, I'm like, well, I'm waiting to see what he thinks of the show. But he also said, I don't know what this is in reference to. Why the F is everyone so sensitive? Some people think that all this content is tailor-made to pander to their opinions, beliefs. We all think differently. F me.
That was Lewis's?
Yeah.
Okay. The counter is everybody has I tell this all the time, everybody has an opinion. Don't get so worked up over other people's opinions. It's a two-way street. Yes, the content is not tailored for them. So who gives a flying bleep. I should quit saying the F word on this or we'll get demonetized.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
why
need to be a little more careful on that. It's early in the show. You're not supposed to do it. But, yeah, at the end of the day, everybody does have an opinion. So that's why I always say when people get, like, I hear riders get upset about, you know, people definitely countering back stuff. Well, you want to be the paid athlete, you want to be in front of people. Like, yep, that's part of it. But then again, I'm contradicting myself because I'm the one who put up a post going how baffled I am that somebody held up a "fuck Hayden Deegan" sign in front of me this weekend to take a photo of.
I got to stop saying it. And then you said it.
I did. It's in the first part of the show. You get demonetized for doing it.
All right. And I want to jump back. I got an email from one of our regular listeners. She sent it. Faith Williams said in her highs and lows. I want to read those real quick. Her high was hometown boy going 1-1 this past weekend. And showed everyone he has the speed and possibly leveled up from last year. At one point, I found myself asking, why is he so patient? I think it was when he was trying to get around Levi. I never asked myself that last year because he was in full send it mode, no matter how sketchy he got. Her low was not being able to go to the race this year. I mentioned the race to my mom, and she said we could have gone. I get mad when she says stuff like that because I feel I missed out on something. Which, Faith, I appreciate you being involved as always. You're one of my favorite listeners, so thank you for always sending those emails. If you want to be one of my favorite listeners, send some damn emails. MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Bonacci just responded and said, what, did he not answer? No, sir, he did not.
Ask Bonacci if he wants to get on the phone and replace him.
You want me to ask him?
Do we need a guess, or do you have stuff to talk about?
I mean, we got 2 more segments and we're done. So we can call it a 2-hour show, or we can try to get Bonacci on.
Yeah, I think we can come up with 1 or 2 more things to talk about.
Okay.
You guys, I can rant about something.
Well, do you want to do that now, and then we'll finish out with the last 2 segments, or do you want to?
I got one for you.
All right.
Actually, just like topic. The plus and minus of what do you think of Ty's situation getting the PC ride? Like, I mean, automatically everybody is just like, I shouldn't say everybody. Like, there's some people that think like, okay, he's already had the opportunity, is what it is. I'm surprised how many people are like, yes, he finally has a chance. It's like, well, no, he actually did before.
Yeah, he's had chances.
Does this go anywhere?
I hate to say it, but I don't think so. He's had flashes of brilliance, but it's really just flashes. I mean, I like the kid. I like his family. He's a Texas guy, but no, I don't think so. But not just trying to get a hold of Jett, by the way.
I think the only way it goes somewhere is actually, because everything else is pretty full, I would say it's to stay at PC if Mitch decides not to re-up Austin, which is kind of being thrown around the pits a little bit, potentially.
Yeah.
Because he's got 4 other spots taken. Levi, Seth, Cameron, the one, I don't know if it's not like 100%. It basically is. I don't think it's signed because I don't know if he legally can sign it till the end, like another week. But the return of speaking of club guy, Marchbanks. PC. So 5th spot. But it is interesting if you're Ty's case. I will say I don't think saying yes, as dumb as it sounds, like you think you would automatically say yes to Mitch. And he said that in an interview. I still don't think it was the easiest thing to say yes to, because there is this allure or mystery if you're Ty to people of like, what can he do on a factory bike? Like what could happen, this and that. You get offered the ride on a Wednesday or Thursday. They don't confirm it till Thursday afternoon because I think there was the exclusion like, hey, can I have the full season or not? Rides the bike Friday, you're kind of coming in a situation where, everybody just thinks you're going to... I've seen people post, like, now he's on a factory 250. He'll win the championship.
Okay.
No offense. He's not being Hayden for the
championship.
He's not being Levi for the championship. It's not happening. But there's that expectation that some people have of him. And man, hey, he needs to take a shot, but it is under the circumstance, it is pretty gnarly because there's a lot of weight on your shoulders and a lot of people watching. And it's like, this could be do or die for your career in a sense. So that's not the easiest thing to weigh.
No, it's not. Jett's ready, so I'm going to...
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's definitely not. Let's go back to let me get back to the FXR read and get him on the phone.
You already did the read.
You don't want me to read it? Well, all right, I'll just do the introduce too. I'm not used to the guy not answering.
Wow.
I was going to do the whole read again.
Let's get to the whole read again.
Moment of silence here. We're waiting on Jett to answer the phone. Here we go.
Hey, Jamie.
What's up, Jett? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
Good to get you on here. We missed each other at the end of the day Saturday, but I want to get you on here and just talk about your first race back in a while and finally getting some motos in, going 16 for 16th. It's been a while since you've actually had a gate drop. Were you happy with how you rode Saturday to start out your season?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me, like, to check off the box was to get a race under the belt. You know, it's been, I don't know, 11 months since my last race. I think Red Bud last year was my race. So nothing to jump up and down about, but, you know, it's definitely a big goal for myself to check off. And I'm happy with myself and the team, and first race with them. So everything went well. Just keep moving forward and keep doing better.
Yeah, I assume it's a really big goal to complete the whole season, stay healthy, get some gate drops, get some, race experience. Because, dude, you haven't really had a ton of opportunities to race with all these guys in the pro class. I mean, you had this stellar amateur career with 9 titles, I believe, but you really haven't had a lot of opportunity to race with the guys that are, all in the pro ranks. So is that the main goal, is to stay healthy and just build?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been able to put together, a year or so of racing dirt bikes without anything, and of course I don't want to get hurt. Like, I want to race and continue to build instead of be here for 2 rounds and then something happens and it puts me right back to square one. Like, that's the biggest thing, Like, all these guys that they race and they're racing every weekend, and a lot of them. It's really hard to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. But they continue to build, and if you're able to do that, you're going to be one of the top guys if you're able to stay healthy and just able to get better each weekend without any downtime.
Yeah, that is definitely the key, is staying healthy. And in this sport, it's not easy for any of the guys. So, yeah, I think that's absolutely key. ML, do you have one?
Yeah, I was curious, somebody in your situation, you've, of course, coming out, like, before you came out of amateurs, your last year or two had a lot of injuries, so it sort of was the theme going into pro. But before that, I watched you ride plenty when you first went big bike. I'd say the confidence was there, the Sendy, the speed, the pace, everything. The position you're in now, like, I don't know, when you're riding, like you said, you're trying to build, trying to get back. Do you actually catch yourself mentally kind of being like, okay, like, I want to go faster, but I also know the consequence that can come with it if I'm not fully ready? Do you catch yourself kind of metering yourself? I guess, like, is that a conscious effort? Is it just something that happens because maybe the confidence takes a knock or anything like that? But I'm curious if you ever mentally catch yourself being like, I want to go quicker, but I need to get there with time.
Yeah, and that's a building thing. Like, can I go faster right now? Yeah, I can, but I don't want to put myself in that awkward, hang it out position where I'm uncomfortable on the bike. And right now I'm staying within my limits and, go little by little instead of, being 16-year-old me on 250 where, yeah, fast as shit, but, hit the ground and not get back up. So
I guess for you, like, oh, go ahead.
That's definitely, one thing where I'm going to have to build back up too, for sure.
So do you at least still feel that inside you? Like, if you look at, if somebody were to walk, I'm sure, that people look at your results and go, man, can you do better, this or that? I'm sure, are you able to take a step back and at the end of the day go, no, like, I can get there? Like, you don't have that personal worry. You still have that confidence somewhere down you, and you're like, okay, I know I'm holding myself back a little bit. Like, yes, once I can kind of put together seasons, like, that you can still be quick enough to be top 10, be top 5, race for podiums eventually. Like, that's down in there, and you're capable of accessing it.
Yeah, I believe one day that won't be an issue. As of now, it's just kind of where I'm at. And really, it's just kind of where I need to be right now. And it's kind of, I need to hold myself accountable and use my head out there.
Yeah, and some of that's maturity. Dude, you guys come into the pro ranks at such a young age, and every kid basically develops at a different rate. So that accountability, I like that word, because I think that's very, very important to be successful in anything, but especially this sport. I want to ask you, coming off that successful amateur career, I'm sure your expectations were high. You probably had a little bit of, I'm going to use the word ego. It sounds negative, but you were probably very positive on your abilities. And then you go pro and you realize, oh, wow, everybody has the same ability I do now compared to when I was in the amateurs. How eye-opening was that? And was it a little bit mentally difficult to adjust to saying, I'm not the absolute best guy right now?
Well, that's been going on for a while.
That's true. Okay.
I'd say probably like 2018. I mean, I was still, I think, 14, 15 years old. And that's when I first started going through these injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be cocky or anything, but I mean, I was just a step above everyone else before that. And it was really hard, I think, to touch me. But being off the bike, time and after again, all these kids, they were developing, and all of us were going through puberty, and that changes everything. And kind of growing into big bikes, like I really didn't have much time on super mini racing to going into 250s. Like I was a little kid, pretty much getting thrown around on a 250, and all the other boys, they had time to build a little bit slower and whatnot, and I was just kind of thrown in, pretty much just from injuries, and but wasn't smart enough mentally to kind of build into it.
So how did you find a way to overcome that? Because that could very easily, and I feel like we've had this talk before, there might have been some times where you're like, man, do I even want to keep doing this? So you have to kind of decide, I do want to keep doing this. I have to get past this mental step and learn to deal with the new physical growth I've had. So how do you mentally get past that to where you are now and like, hey, I'm all in. I want to be mature and have accountability and build from there. How did you get past that mentally?
Well, I'm still going through that.
Okay, so you're still dealing with it a little bit.
I'm still going through the change, and the guys around here, you're held for your accountability every day here, and you have all the right people here not hovering over you, but if you're doing something and maybe they're like, like, hey, back it down here or change this, like don't ride like that, or just if I'm doing anything wrong and it catches their eyes, and they're not afraid to tell me, and they're all about safety here. So they know what they're talking about here, like Brandon Hawes.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps me in check and keeps me in line and keeps me going. Not in a negative way whatsoever either. Very positive attitude, and he knows how to talk to me and get through me.
Yeah. So coming off of Pro Circuit Kawasaki, a team with very, very high expectations, and going to a place like ClubMX, who within the team they have high expectations for the team, but it is a different atmosphere. So would you say that was being at Club has been very beneficial to you for maybe a little less pressure? Maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but has it helped you with this progression of learning to deal with the mental side going to Club because of those things?
I would say coming here, I get away from the bullshit. I get away from a lot of things, and I'm able to focus on myself a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And with the whole pressure thing with the team switch, like I just feel here like it's to us like I don't know. Like I just felt already beat before I showed up to the track. On the other bike, on the other team, like just not as positive, I'd say.
Sure.
And I wasn't paid to be on the team just as another guy. I mean, I was paid to win.
Yep.
That first circuit, and obviously that wasn't the case. So, and I could have done better on myself, like for sure.
Yeah, again, you're a young man, and if you don't have necessarily the right people in your corner, and I'm not talking about your family, but even with the team, if you didn't gel maybe with that team, like you seem to be gelling with the people at club, then it's very hard to make that next step because, man, at 15, 16 years old, like you're just not capable of knowing how to handle yourself. You're not developed well enough yet to do that. So I like what you're saying. I like that you're being honest about it and that it didn't work and you're more comfortable now, because I would like to see you rebuild and get to where we all believe you could be. I know like your buddy Ryder D has told me, man, like you still rip, he still believes in you, and I want to see you get back to that level, man. So I'm excited to see where you're going to progress over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I just need to keep it on two. And it's like me and Ryder, we've always grown up with each other riding, and we know like the talents we have like on a motorcycle. I still don't think he showed all of his talents yet, and I for sure haven't. And we don't really talk that much anymore, but I respect him, and hopefully he can get some podiums. Yeah. And hopefully I'm right up there too. But yeah, we have respect for each other, and that's actually cool to hear though.
Yeah, he told me that, I think it was last year we were talking about you, and he was like, man, the kid still goes, and I believe in him. He kind of talked about when you guys were growing up together. So yeah, he definitely still holds you in high regard as well. Talk about having some of the guys around you that have been at club. Cody Schock, I know that like Justin Brayton trains out there sometimes. I don't know how much you get to actually interact with those guys, including your own team, Marchbanks, and Jason Anderson's been out there. How much you can learn from those guys, how much interaction you have with them, if anybody stands out that's really kind of giving you some advice. Just talk about the guys around you.
Yeah, I'd say everyone on the team, really. I gel well with all these guys. We all communicate, and we're not scared to talk to each other, or one guy's not gonna hold back, and like if he has something to say or any type of pointer, it's like, well, we all talk and we have nothing to hide. Like Phil Nicoletti, one of his things is, stay within your limits. Like in practice, like Phil, during the week he just does what he has to, and then he's just a racehorse. Like he gets to the races, and that guy, he's just a veteran and has that racecraft, and he's able to get it done on race weekends. And Cody, he just has like a super positive outlook on everything. And that guy's turned it around for himself major with the team. And he's had a hell of a season, and he hasn't raced outdoors in a couple years, but he'll be there. He's good, and he's just a good person to have around. And Garrett, he's had some great results, and he's just one of those guys that's always going to be there. Like practice, like man, that dude can be the fastest every day, and so he's good to have like as a gauge, like where you want to be.
Yeah, I've heard for years, if Garrett could ride at the race the way he does during practice, like he'd be untouchable. And the guy has great rides, but I hear just at club and when he's training, like he's just unreal. So that's
No, yeah, he's on another level. yeah. No, Garrett's sick.
We've talked enough about the mental side of things. What do you feel like you need to work on the most on the bike and maybe even off the bike as far as training? Are there a couple things that you feel like you're still a little weak on?
I'd say confidence.
Yep.
Right? Confidence has be down so much over the years. Getting that back, getting back to racing every week, and I think is going to build that up. And with the whole training structure, like I'm pretty locked in here at club, and all that's going well for me. Like I've lost 20 pounds since I've been here.
Good deal.
Yeah, 20 good pounds. But
Jamie lost a part of his soul and his pride there.
Man, you don't have to tell him about that.
This was prior to Jett joining the team?
Yeah, he wasn't there last year when I showed up.
Missed it.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, dude. That track's not even there anymore. But the little sand track there, right by at the top of the hill.
No, it was the amateur supercross track. Yeah, it was like the amateur supercross track that's right up by the gym.
Oh, it's a turn track.
Turn track
right now.
Well, there was a little triple there, and I'm talking a little triple, and it got me, man. I ran out of talent.
Broke my foot. I need to get X-rays. Help me.
Hey, that track actually took me out of supercross.
Well, I was about to say good, but
yeah,
I don't think good is what I meant.
At least you caught yourself before you said that dick ass comment.
But I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
That track gets gnarly. Man.
Yeah. What happened to you there?
Like, we ride there when it rains.
Yep.
For supercross, and I hit a little soft spot, lost some speed, and I hit a little OTV. But yeah, that track will bite you.
Yeah, for sure. It got me, and I'm still. I mean, this was back during SMX last year, and my ankle's still not quite right. But yeah, we're not here to talk about me. Just a couple more questions for you. Again, I want to jump back in just for a second. You've been very honest about the mental struggles a little bit. Was there actually a time where you thought about maybe I should do something different? Did you ever consider stepping away?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I mean, even after the supercross season,
this year?
Yeah.
After the collarbone? Detroit? Yeah.
It was actually separated my shoulder. But,
oh, okay.
I mean, as soon as that crash happened, I just kind of told myself, what am I doing? What's next? What's next? And this isn't quite fun.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
It's the highs and the lows. And that was a low for me. But I think what happens with that for me, it's I believe if I can just get there, a lot of things are going to change.
I like that, dude. Yeah, stay positive, dude, because what you just said is very smart, right? It's not always easy to remember when you say life in general is highs and lows, peaks and valleys. I say it all the time. And I guarantee you every rider's had that moment like, what the hell am I doing? So you got to push through, which it seems like you're doing. And that's a very mature way to handle it.
Yeah. The last thing I want to do is, regret not giving it my full shot at it. But I also have to do well to keep getting a shot. I'm very lucky and fortunate to be here.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, everything you're saying sounds very mature. Like you have taken the time to deal with these things, and you're. So I like all your answers so far.
Well, I have the right people around me right now.
Yep.
I have the right people, and I have the right mindset. And yeah, it's been a long way to get here mentally and realize some deep shit I have. But I put myself in bad situations, and I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to be smart, and I've learned a lot just being here, and I think I have a different mentality. than I ever have.
It sounds like you've got a positive mindset in what the future looks like, but in those, I guess those moments when you've had to reflect on your career, like, what to do next, not a negative way, but if you have thought about it, I guess this is just learning a little bit more about you. Whenever you do step away, what would be your go-to thing to do? Do you have something you're all passionate about outside of dirt bikes that you would want to get involved in, or are you kind of like someone who was like, it is dirt bikes are life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm young and dumb. Dirt bikes is obviously taking my life on my education and
yeah,
just, stuff like that, right? And I think for most of us, and that's why you see a lot of guys too that, or maybe just don't want to give up the dream yet because it's kind of all we know. But this is not something financially where I have to keep going right now. Like, I'm fine, and this is something I want to do. It's not something I have to do.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference.
Go
ahead.
My choice.
Yeah. Well, Jett, I know it's like 9:30 there, and we kept you pretty late. So I appreciate you jumping on here. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on you this season, man. I want to see you get through it healthy. I want to see you just continue to improve. And I think all the words you're saying sounds like you've kind of got it figured out. I do sense that you're still in a little bit of a dark place. You kind of admitted that, but it's going to get better, man. The peaks are going to come. Just listen to the guys at Club. That there's good people there that have your back. And like you said, you're in a good place for you. So yeah, just keep enjoying it. Find the passion for it, and get through the season, man, and just have fun.
Fire's still burning. Thank you, boys.
I love it, man. We'll, I don't think either one of us will be at Hangtown this weekend, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on your TV, and good luck, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Have a good night. See you, Jett. Jett Reynolds, brought to you by FXR. Dude, he was really, really open, and I like it. He wasn't sugarcoating what he went through.
No, definitely. I feel like we had two good open ones. Him, and then, like I said, there was a lot of stuff Jordon answered that usually don't get out of guys. So positive, solid night. Good night. So yeah, the schedule was a little awkward, but hey, we got through it. We've got. Do you have any more you want to talk about with what we're talking about right before he came on? Not Hunter. Who were we talking about? Well, we were talking about Hymus, and then who would we move into after? Yeah, you know. This is your show. I don't pay attention to anything you say, man. Oh. Who were we talking about? This is such a shit show. Speaking of honesty. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, you know what? We're just going to move to the blood lubricants. Since we don't have a third guest, we're going to do a blood lubricants picks, 250 picks this week. Blood lubricants. Do you think all oil is the same, ML? No. Well, you're right. It's not. It's a bit like food in that you can have all the same ingredients, but a great chef will make something that knocks your socks off. Blood Lubricants was developed from over 40 years of knowledge in the oil business and is used by racers in the most grueling motorsports on the planet, including Baja, NASCAR, Indy, NHRA, sprint cars, motocross, and supercross, and many more. Blood Lubricants has a reputation for lasting longer than other brands and is known to keep your bike running up to 30 degrees cooler. Visit Blood Lubricants, that's blood, B-L-U-D, bloodlubricants.com. And use promo code VMX25, that's all caps, to save. Tonight, Blood Lubricants 250 picks for Hangtown. Do you want to give yours? Or you want me to give mine? 250 picks. I think Levi's going to come back. Okay. I think, however, I'm going to go with him and Hayden trade 2 1s. Levi for the overall, because I think he needs to prove something himself in there early. So I'm going to go Levi with the win, Hayden with second, but on a 1-2 trade. Third this weekend, I will go with... Ooh. You having a tough time on this one? I am. I want to say I'm just trying to do something different. It would probably be Tom, but I was trying to come up with something a little bit different. Jordon? Not yet. I think Jordan does a couple more rounds. Okay. I'm trying to think all the OEMs in my head. I'm struggle busing. Well, while you think about it, let's jump up. Tom. Okay, so you're going to go Vial. I actually didn't. Actually, no. No? Sabachi. Oh, Joey. I like that one. Okay. Go with Joey.
All right. So mine are, I'm kind of going with the same. Well, I'm going Levi, Deegs, Vial. That's my pick. So it was the same as yours until you went to Joey. So if you guys want to get involved with this, motoxpodshow@gmail.com. Send us your 250 picks. Try to do it before the race. I get some people sometimes on Monday like, here's my picks for the last race. I'm like, yeah, dude, the race is over. That doesn't really help any. But the 250 class, man, I'm excited for what's coming up. We're going to get into now the EVS picks for 450 picks for Hangtown. Over the past 39 years, EVS Sports has established itself as a leader in innovation and technology when it comes to designing protection gear for today's motocross riders. Athletes like RJ Hampshire, Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Norrin, Axel Hodges, and Travis Pastrana all wear EVS when they ride, race, or whatever Travis decides to do that day. Check out evs-sports.com and use that code VITALMX30 to save. Guys like to save money. Use the codes VITALMX30 to save at evs-sports.com. So 450 picks. Let's give our co-hosts who aren't here tonight. Way to not show up tonight, guys. TJ says Jett, Hunter, Sexton.
Don't tell Lewis.
Well, Lewis already hates TJ, so he's just, what are you going to do? Jeremy says Jett, Sexton, Hunter.
Who's Jeremy?
He's been filling in when TJ's been out. Jeremy Huddleston.
Okay.
See, that's what happens when you don't listen.
Dude, I don't listen to any moto podcasts.
And then Scotty, Jett, Sexton, AP. It's not a, I like
AP was strong at Hangtown.
Yeah, he was. He was, then he fell in the second moto in the first turn and got chewed up a little bit. So I'll take AP as an option. You got yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Chase Jett trade a 1-2. Chase gets the overall. Hangtown was probably Jett's worst track last year. His win margins were like 4 seconds and 7 seconds over Ferrandis and Plessinger. So if the streak's going to be beat anytime soon, I think it happens this weekend. If it doesn't, I think it'll be sadly a few rounds where Chase can get it done. This seems to be, for some reason last year, it wasn't a strong track for Jett. So
right.
Doesn't shock me if Joe wins. So I'm going to go Chase, Jett, AP. So I think AP was strong here.
Okay. Well, Lewis is not going to like me either, but I went Jett, Hunter, Chase.
Okay.
So sorry,
wow,
Lewis.
You put Chase to third.
I know. Well, I don't know. Hunter was good. Chase, I don't know, man. I'm just like, if I put Chase second, then Chase will probably not even be on the podium. So
I have a question.
Okay.
Who do you owe socks to?
Oh my God. Tay-Bill Jam. I can't remember.
I've seen it so much in the chat.
He's
tonight.
overseas, and I haven't sent him because it's like I think he's like, I'll pay for the shipping. Somebody said they pay for shipping. It's like $60 to send a pair of socks to Australia or wherever he's at. It's a lot of money to send a pair of socks because he got a trivia question right. If he really wants me to send him, I'll freaking send him. But he sent me private messages like we're just joking. It's just like they're having fun with it.
Okay.
So
I was say if it's a big issue, you owe a man a prize. You can expense the shipping.
It was from even before I was at Vital, I think. That's how long
ago
this
God,
was.
Never mind. That's your own problem.
Yeah, it's on me. But
sorry, everybody. I am not dealing with a problem that was prior to us. This was prior management. This is like a company went through bankruptcy audit. I do not take on prior debt.
No prior debt. I like it. All right, guys. I think
buy
we're gonna
the socks in Australia and send them to Tay. That's
dude. I just need to find like a fly. Dude, I will send you some freaking socks when I get back home.
Who's fly? Just hit up Jake to see if somebody that has them there can send them to him.
Actually, what I should have hit up like Nick or whatever from Moto Limited and see if they have flies. They used to have fly sponsorship. Dude, get him to get some socks.
Yeah, what is Nick? I thought, was Nick over here for Fox? I saw him post a story of like.
If he was here, I didn't know it. I never heard him say anything. So yeah, I don't think so.
Really limited these days.
Yeah, with him working with Alex, he's a little busy, I think.
Does he actually work with Alex?
You'd have to ask Alex. I don't know. All right. I want to thank Jett Reynolds and Jordon Smith. I want to thank RaceTech and Yamaha Motor USA for being our presenting sponsors. I want to thank Guts Racing, FXR, X-Brand, ProX, EVS Protection, Evans Coolant, Blood Lubricants, Barnett Clutches. ML, anything else before we wrap this thing up?
There's hamburgers waiting for me. I'm hungry.
Ooh, let's wrap it up. All right, we're out, guys. We'll be back next week. We should have Malcolm and Tom Vial on, but you just never know how things are going to go at the MotoXpod show. We're out.